throws. I think this is going to be a Trevor show, Austin Lane. It's all about Trevor Lawrence. What do you make of his 52 throws today?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the throws look good, obviously. I think he might have had one miss. That's kind of what we're expecting, almost an A-plus effort, if you will, almost 100%. And that's really what those scripted throws put him in the position to do. It showcases his skill set, what he does well. And overall, from what I saw on ESPN2, I thought Trevor Lawrence looked fantastic. And obviously, Urban Meyer, another trending topic, making himself known. Like I tweeted out this morning, I thought it was an alpha move by Urban Meyer. Props to him.
Yeah, what did that surprise you a little bit, that Urban Meyer was able to be that close right next to Dabo Swinney? I mean, was it just a power move? And he was like, hey, I'm new to the NFL. I don't know what you're supposed to do here, but I've got the number one pick, and I'm going right out there, get up close to Trevor Lawrence as I can.
I mean, listen, I think there's a few things that come into play here of why Urban Meyer was that close to Trevor Lawrence. Number one, I mean, he was talking to Dabo pretty much the entire time, right? So every single throw that Trevor Lawrence made, Urban was kind of picking Dabo's brain a little bit, which is great. I mean, that's a sign that obviously Urban Meyer is interested in Trevor Lawrence. Spoiler alert, in case you didn't know. The second thing that I liked is the fact that put a little extra added pressure, let's just say, on Trevor Lawrence. Now, people, I've been coming in my mentions because I tweeted this out today as well, and people were like, well, come on, Austin. The guy throws the ball how many times? Like, how is that extra pressure? How is Urban Meyer being that close to you extra pressure? And I would compare it like this. Let's say that you're working at a valet and you're going to park somebody's car. Let's say it's a nice car. Let's say it's a Lamborghini, but it's not a stick shift, it's an automatic. I'm not sure if those are even possible, but let's say you have to park a Lamborghini automatic, okay? You've driven a million times. You know how to drive a car. Now, granted, sometimes the situation's different, the environment's different. Sometimes the brake's a little twitchy. Sometimes the gas is a little more responsive. But you know how to drive a car. But if that person that dropped the Lamborghini off was watching you park his car the entire time, you're going to be a little more nervous. You're going to probably check those mirrors twice. You're going to probably, look behind you one time. And that's the point of what Urban Meyer did today. He put a little extra added pressure on Trevor Lawrence. Now, maybe it wasn't physical pressure, obviously, but it was mental pressure. And I thought Trevor Lawrence did a great job of answering that pressure. He even kind of alluded to it. I think he was talking to Reese Davis after the workout, and Reese Davis asked him about it. You kind of saw a big smile from Trevor Lawrence. And then later on, Todd McShay even said that this was kind of Urban Meyer's idea to have this pro day a little earlier. Urban Meyer essentially asked Trevor Lawrence, hey, are you interested in doing this a little earlier with your shoulder? You can get that shoulder surgery taken care of a little quicker, get ready for training camp. Are you interested in doing this? And Trevor Lawrence, obviously being the sportsman, the competitor that he is, agreed to it.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money, by the way, and that's great insight of what you said. I loved your comparison to the valet parker. I think I've done that job. And if the person's right out there and it's not just your buddies or your coworkers, it's a big difference. I was thinking about it. Last night I was just sitting there laying in bed in the hotel, and I'm like, I wonder what this is like for Trevor Lawrence. He knows he can throw, right? It's like me going on TV and saying, hey, I think I can talk on TV. I think I can talk on radio. I'm comfortable doing that. That's what I do. So he knows he can throw. He knows he's going to be the number one pick. All that stuff, all the work he's put in. But I do have to believe there is this level of anxiety, a level of good nervous nature to go out there and be like, all right, this is really the next step, and the stuff I've been working on, and this was a little bit on short notice, and I've got a labrum issue that I have to make sure I get through too. And there's going to be eyes on me. I don't care who you are. I mean, Tiger Woods will say, I don't know if he's the one that admits to it, but most people will admit that they get eyes, even the best athletes. And so I would think there was a little bit of that pressure. I love your analogy there. I do think he looked comfortable. He looked the part. He did everything that everybody hoped he would do. I mean, the last throw, Austin. Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? I'm glad they didn't do the victory formation, man, but they did give us that last throw.
No,
the last throw, even you don't have to be a big football fan. Everybody could say, oh, boy, that was pretty cool.
So, yeah, that last throw said a lot because that's kind of like Jordan Palmer, obviously the quarterback coach that put on this whole thing. That's kind of like his signature because he did it with Sam Darnold and he did it with Josh Allen. And it's funny, I actually went back and watched the last throws of Sam Darnold and Josh Allen. and I watched how they compared to Trevor Lawrence. And it's interesting, right? Because when we think about Josh Allen, we think of big arm talent. And what ended up happening in that pro day, and keep in mind, Josh Allen at the time was coming from Wyoming. So I think they had to do a little better job of showcasing his skill set just because he came from a smaller school and not on the big stage like Trevor Lawrence is. Like, we know what Trevor Lawrence is. Josh Allen at the time during his pro day, we weren't quite certain what Josh Allen was going to be. But on the very first throw, Josh Allen actually, overthrows his target. Now, it was kind of a flex because it was like a 75-yard pass, so it looked good, but he missed the target. So he actually did that exact same throw again. So he had to do it twice because I think the whole point was Jordan Palmer showing that, hey, he can make this throw, he can make this difficult throw, and let's end on a good note. Let's end on a catch. Trevor Lawrence, it took him one time. And when you saw that throw, everybody, I think, at that place was clapping or just kind of in awe of what we just saw because, number one, fantastic throw, but number two is a great catch as well. Just a great catch and play there. So there's a lot to be said about that play right there as well. And the biggest thing that I'm taking away from this, Brent, you kind of alluded to this a little bit. When we're talking about Trevor Lawrence and, in this situation, it wasn't ideal, right? You mentioned the shoulder and everything, but keep in mind, he only had one receiver that he played with that was actually catching balls from him. The rest of the guys, he wasn't accustomed to. And if quarterbacks are like any other professional athlete, they're creatures of habit. They have their guys. They know how their guys run routes. Trevor Lawrence probably only had about 5 to 10 minutes to warm up, get acclimated to these new receivers, and then make it work. And if you watch that workout, man, he made it work.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it again. I think he was tremendous in everything they asked to do, and I didn't expect much else. Listen, I thought we'd come out here raving about Trevor Lawrence's day, and I think we kind of are. I caught up with Steve Smith and also Todd McShay after the workout. As you know, we weren't allowed in the workout in full disclosure. We were very close. We could actually see him throwing sometimes because they have these big garage door windows, and so you could see from where we were. We were just outside the building. They just wouldn't let us in. Just ESPN, NFL Network. By the way, over-under on outlets there, I hope you had one. Action Sports Jacks. That's it. Over-under on teams, I hope you had 16. And I think I said it on 13.5, and I got the under.
Yeah.
But it was over, so 16 teams showed up to watch Trevor Lawrence throw the football. And obviously, Urban Meyer, Brian Schottenheimer, Darrell Bevel, all were there. They flew in this morning, private jetted in. Not 6-hour drive. We have to do.
Well, you should have asked, man. You're an official TV station of the Jaguars. You couldn't roll with them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we get a lot of love on official TV station. I mean,
I guess you do. Get your
hey,
money's
Urban,
worth.
I'm like 10 feet. Urban, you got a minute? I don't think he heard me. But anyway, that was kind of the scene, and they flew up and flew back, and obviously this is a big deal for them. And I just think there are two other things that come out of this for me. In terms of, it's cool to see a guy throwing that everybody talks about and is encouraged about, and he lives up to it. And it's fun to see Jacksonville, and I've said this over the last couple of months, it's great to see you guys, as in Jags fans, engaged in what's going on here with the Jacksonville Jaguars and excited about the possibilities of this and the number one pick and a prospect of this caliber, because that's real. It's not over dramatic. It's real. I mean, he is that kind of talent that will scout. So I think that part's pretty cool. But the other thing that really happened today was this labrum deal. Like, what is it? Like, how did it come about? We asked that. Why is he in surgery next week? Well, I didn't see any ill effects from that, Austin. I mean, I thought that part was, he has a shoulder problem? Like, why is he getting surgery next week? I mean, he was lifting that left shoulder fine. It didn't seem like he was wincing at all. He looked pain-free in this session. So I thought that part was pretty good. He just must totally be doing this because there's something on an MRI or some level of discomfort that he wants to get cleaned up before he starts his NFL career. But this did not prohibit the way he threw the football today at his Clemson Pro Day.
Yeah, listen, I've talked about this a little bit. When it comes to a labrum tear, a lot of people have labrum tears and they're never going to know it because they're minor, right? I mean, I had a surgery on because, to the extent of it, when I was playing in a game, I made a tackle and kept on popping out of socket. I'm like, I should probably get this taken care of. I want to be a tough guy, but I'm essentially useless to my team with this shoulder. What I think with Trevor Lawrence is the fact that I think it bothers him a little bit. It would have to, because even if it was like a small tear where he has like zero problem, there would make no sense right now, entering your rookie year, entering your most important season per se, to get surgery right now. So there has to be some kind of ill effect a little bit due to this, this labrum tear where he feels the need right now to get it fixed. Now, obviously, it's a non-throwing shoulder, so it's not that big of a deal. Obviously, when you have like any kind of shoulder repair, sometimes, your mobility can be affected by it. Sometimes your strength can be affected by it. And you have to rehab those things back. But being a non-throwing shoulder and being, from the quarterback position where, let's be honest, opposite arm strength is not everything. Opposite arm mobility is not everything. I'm not too worried about it. And obviously from what you saw at his pro day today, he wasn't too worried about it either.
Nah, and so I guess he'll just get cleaned up. He said 4 to 5 months for full clearance. He'll be doing other things in the meantime. I was just talking to somebody about this, Austin. We don't know if there will be OTAs. And we don't know if there'll be a rookie minicamp as usual. Like, NFL still doesn't know that stuff. Players, G. Treader, the head of the Players Union, has said we don't think we need that again. So we really don't know what the offseason is going to look like for the Jacksonville Jaguars, for Trevor Lawrence. With a young football team and a new coach, how much importance do you think is on potentially the offseason? And do keep in mind, if there is an offseason the way we know it, Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be a part of it. There's not going to be that buzz around the OTAs for Trevor Lawrence to be out there, because he will not be doing anything of that nature. He will be instead unleashed most likely in late July and early August at training camp.
No, without a doubt. So we'll see what happens from that standpoint. It's like I said, it was a big day for Jaguars fans, because this could be the last time we see Trevor Lawrence for a while. Now, he might do the interviews here or there, but as far as seeing the arm in motion, and listen, let's be honest here. It's not like we really learned anything about Trevor Lawrence, right? If you watch Clemson the past couple of years, you know what kind of quarterback Trevor Lawrence is. But to me, like, if you're a Jaguars fan, like, this is kind of the reassuring fact, right? It's that last throw, that last throw, that great catch, that great pass, moving the pocket a little bit, 65 plus yards, whatever that throw was. That's the last impression that we're going to have from Trevor Lawrence now until he put on that Jaguars hat and that jersey. And you know what? That's okay impression to be a part of. Now, I'll be honest. I mean, listen, do we learn anything? Are we going to use verbiage like, well, he looked really fluid out there. He had good arm strength. Like, everyone's using that kind of verbiage because, let's be honest, it's draft season coming up, and experts can't help themselves. He looked really mobile in the pocket. He had the boxing today. He was fluid. He's got that fast twitch. Like, everyone's talking about that. But what I noticed, Brent, the shoes were on point, okay? The Nike Dunk highs that he was rocking, because let's be honest here, Trevor Lawrence always kind of been a reserved guy. Like, yes, he's the leader of Clemson. He's the face of the franchise, if you will. But always kind of been like that, kind of that even filter guy. I appreciated the shoe game today. I was not expecting the Nike Dunk highs to make an appearance. I want a pair, and I don't play football anymore, but also kind of shows up like, hey, all eyes are on me right now. Check these out and check out my arm can do.
Well, you do have a shoe closet, so you are enamored with the shoes.
Yep.
Not about it. Trevor Lawrence gets it done, and again, I think it's worth mentioning. I said there's two things that struck me. One was the injury that you couldn't, if you didn't know he was getting surgery next week, you would have no idea he's getting surgery next week. Mm-hmm. I would have no idea that, hey, something might be up. That was interesting to me, given the fact that this natured surgery is going to be 4 to 5 months in terms of a full clearance rehab. And the other part of it was, man, there's just no doubt that the Jags are taking him. Like, I understand I wouldn't be following Trevor Lawrence all around southeast and southeast of America if we think he was going to be drafted. But there is no doubt he's being drafted number one. Like, the suspense of the number one overall pick, much like last year, is done. It's over. Like, everybody you talk to, Todd McShay, anybody who's the analysts. I mean, Urban Meyer was that close to him. Like, he didn't hide it. And then the McKay revelation that Urban Meyer wanted to see this, well, of course he did. This is like his first practice with Trevor Lawrence, and his next one might not come until late July, early August in training camp. But I just think today kind of settled in. While we knew this already, he is the unquestionable number one pick. It's not even close with anybody else. And Trevor Lawrence is going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar.
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, as soon as the Jets lost that game, and then, and the Jets won that game and the Jaguars did their part as well, you knew what was going to happen, hands down. Now, people want to throw out the Deshaun Watson narrative because it's fun to talk about. It's going to get the clicks. I understand people are in the business of getting clicks. So be it. But no, it's obvious. You never want to say 100% because let's be honest. Is a team going to offer 10 first-round draft picks for Trevor Lawrence? Probably not. But the Houston Texans have done crazier things before. So who knows what's going to happen? But I'm just saying right now, yes, Trevor Lawrence is going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. But again, there's that 0.00001% that says, are we going to get some kind of Houston Texans stupidity kind of trade going on? But it's not going to happen, I don't think.
We just stopped at Skins Dogs, I think it's called. It's like hot dogs. And so we got a couple for lunch on the way out of town. And the guy's like, well, what about Deshaun Watson? What about, obviously another Clemson guy. And I said, listen, if Trevor Lawrence is not the number one overall pick and in a Jacksonville uniform in the fall, I'm going to come back up here to Skins Dogs, and I'm buying 1,000 hot dogs.
Oh, wow.
So that's the deal.
Ooh, Brent, be careful with that, man.
I didn't say I was eating 1,000 hot dogs.
Oh, no, you're buying them, man. No, you're buying them, but keep in mind, half this city dinner from Ruth Chris because if the Jaguars don't host what is it, a Super Bowl or is it a draft party? I think a draft party, right?
Draft.
The draft,
it's a draft, yeah.
If the Jaguars don't host the draft in the next couple of years, you're going to be paying out for some Ruth Chris, which is a little bit pricey than hot dogs.
Yeah, but then I figured Trevor Lawrence will have gone to a couple of Super Bowls, won a couple of Super Bowls, MVP, and he might just pay for me by that time. He's on his second deal.
I gotcha.
So,
hey,
there's a little method to the madness.
What a long way he's going to come then. From you being at Clemson, him not giving you the time to do an interview, to now paying for your Ruth Chris dinner, man. That's quite the evolution. That's quite the metamorphosis for Trevor Lawrence.
Well, listen, I've come a long way. Back in 2010, 2011, 2012, you wanted to talk to me in the locker room, and I spent 3 hours a day with me.
It's a good point, man. People can change, Brent. People can change for the right amount of money. Or not. Not really, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Hey, the bottom line is Trevor doesn't know me yet. Wait until he does.
Wait to see him that money.
I think we're in Simplyville, South Carolina. We've already paid a couple of tolls in the first segment. I've trusted Marcel Robinson to drive my truck. That's a simple one, by the way. And here we are, first ever show from the actual road.
I'm glad you said...
By the way, South Carolina roads suck.
Brent, I'm glad you said you were in the passenger seat because from the shot, you can't really tell, and there's times where you're looking at your phone, it looks like you're looking away from the road for a while.
Wouldn't be for the brand, that's for sure. And also, hey,
yeah, well,
I'm going to say this once.
I got my seatbelt on.
I'm going to say this once. Tell your driver to mind the speed limit. I'm going to say it once. Just tell your driver to mind the speed limit.
He's got like a flag football game tonight. Oh. We got to get home by 9:30. He might go 90. Hey, this would be classic though if we got pulled over during the show. I might be rooting for that. I might be rooting for that.
Let's do it.
That would be unbelievable.
It's still your truck, though, keep in mind. But all right.
That's his license.
That's a good point. Dang, good point.
We'll be back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Literally from the road. More Trevor talk. We'll hear from Tom McShay what he had to say coming up on ESPN 690.
Now, the first forecast on ESPN 690.
Have that umbrella handy today right on through the weekend. Most cloudy today along with a scattered shower and a few thunderstorms. Highs in the mid-70s. Join me beginning 5 p.m. for CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jacks from the First Alert West Center. TV meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where now through Valentine's you can save thousands. Find out more at beardsdiamonds.com.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Hey, boss, how's it going?
How's it going? Oh, let me tell you how it's going. So far this year, I've broken my pinky toe, had a flat tire, and currently I'm trying to pass a kidney stone the size of Rhode Island.
Well, karma strikes again.
What?
Nothing. Oh, look, it's the first Crooks R Us survey of 2021. They're asking crooks like us to list the top reasons we avoid safe touch houses.
There's the crash and smash technology, the video monitoring.
Yeah, but what's number one?
Gotta be the two-way communicator.
That's what I said.
Oh, yeah. The two-way communicator leads to verified alarms, which lead to faster response times, which are all very bad for us crooks.
Which all just circles back to the Crooks R Us golden rule. Stay away from safe touch houses.
Yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
It's time to celebrate your love with a special gift from Beard's Diamonds.
Now through February 14th, you can get the lowest prices in Jacksonville, guaranteed, on hundreds of specially designed Valentine pieces at beardsdiamonds.com.
Show her how much she means to you with a quarter-carat diamond Circle of Love necklace, retail $600, Beard's special Valentine price $390. You save almost $300.
Or give her a half-carat diamond heart necklace, retail $900, Beard's Valentine price $585. You save over $300.
How about a pair of 1-carat diamond stud earrings?
Retail $25.50.
Beard's Diamonds price $16.57.
You save almost $900.
And with every purchase between now and Valentine's,
your loved one receives a free dinner at Fogo de Chão.
Beard's Diamonds has the largest selection of engagement rings and GIA certified loose diamonds at the lowest prices in Jacksonville, guaranteed. See more at the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
The lowest prices in Jacksonville, guaranteed at Beard's Diamonds.
What if the music stopped? If the familiar voices were silenced? If there were no breaking news updates? What if your companion and connection to your community came with a monthly fee? Don't worry, we're free local radio with you wherever you go, celebrating 100 years and looking forward to the next 100. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local TV and radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Body Armor is proud to sponsor the number 12 Team Penske car driven by Team Body Armor member Ryan Blaney with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and B vitamins, plus no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Body Armor provides hard-working hydration and more. Find Body Armor at your neighborhood Winn-Dixie.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
Join the movement to end colon cancer. March to Get Screened is celebrating its 12th year supporting colon cancer awareness and life-saving screenings. Held on March 28th, March to Get Screened is a family affair including a 5K race, a 1-mile fun run, and fun activities for all. Safety measures will be in place as well as virtual participation options. All proceeds benefit the nonprofit Borland Groover Foundation. Register today, donate, or for more information, head to marchtoGetScreened.com. That's marchtoGetScreened.com.
I'm Action News Jax Tanika Hughes, and one of the great things about living in Jacksonville is our diverse communities. It's so important that the local stories we cover in our newscasts reflect the people who live here. That's why we've launched Action News Jax Gets Real, to get real on issues like racism, housing challenges, and unequal access to health care. It's having difficult conversations, as well as celebrating people making a difference. This is Action News Jax Gets Real. Real talk, real change.
If you're usually listening to ESPN 690 in your car, but your boss has you working from home this week, well, take us with you. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Tell Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy all that sweet listening coverage.
Brent Martineau.
The freaking Jacksonville Jaguars are 14-12 all-time against one of the best organizations, quite frankly, in all of sports.
Austin Lane.
Get him, Brent. Get him, Brent.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
checks a lot of boxes. He does a lot of things really well. Is it a guarantee that he's going to be great? No, I'm chuckling here and Zubin, talk about Andrew Luck as this generational player. Look, that's always the fear. That can always be the case. But if you're looking for the thing that gives you all this concern, I just don't know that there is something that's obvious that gives you concern about him.
That is Matt Hasselbeck from ESPN talking this morning. I'm sorry, Matt, Tim Hasselbeck. We were scheduled to get Tim Hasselbeck today on the show, and he had to do some NFL Live work, so we're not going to get him. So you'll hear from him from earlier today, and we'll also hear from Todd McShay in a moment. Steve Smith, former NFL wide receiver, on what it would be like to catch passes from Trevor Lawrence. Talk to him today up here at Clemson University. Trevor Lawrence is in the books. It's done. We are on the road, literally on the road. We love to take Action Sports Jacks on the road, and I hope you enjoy the car ride here through South Carolina as we head back to Jacksonville. I figure we have a chance to make it close to Georgia by the time the show ends today. We'll see how fast Marcel drives. Brent Martineau here, Austin Lane in the Action Sports Jack studios. Got a big UFC event coming up. I hope you guys have done your Valentine's Day duties. Might not.
Oh,
but,
yeah, nah. We're all good.
It's very important. Yeah, but the most important thing here for the three of us, at least, is Kuz to do his Valentine's Day duties, right?
Kuz, how are we looking, man? How's the Valentine's Day front looking for you right now? A lot of eyes on you.
I brought up that this was the last year that I had to buy flowers for her, and that didn't go over well.
Why is that?
Because once we merge our bank accounts, it's like she's buying her own flowers, so why am I going to get her flowers?
Wow. That's the spirit. That's the spirit, man. Off to a fantastic start. Do you get her something this year?
We were going to go to dinner, but the two places I wanted to take her are already fully booked, so I'll have to cook now.
Wait to the last minute. Okay,
yeah,
well, sometimes, if you cook for her, that's a nice gesture.
I cook every night.
What? Okay. Well, what's on the menu?
I'm going to do steak, I think.
Nice,
steak,
nice.
potatoes.
Are you going to reverse sear that steak?
Probably not.
You don't really love her, do you? This is all a sham.
Listen, that sounds like
a lot
of work.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You got to reverse sear that steak. Come on now.
Maybe give it a try.
You should. You know what you do? You should cook that steak, reverse sear, and you should watch Good Will Hunting. You're welcome. Compliments of Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Here's the problem that's going to happen, though, is when I cook steak, she likes to put honey mustard on the steak, and...
Sorry. Sorry. It's over.
What?
Putting honey on... Brent, you hearing this? Brent, are you still with
honey
us right
mustard.
now?
That's what she does.
Yes, I'm hearing this. Am I here?
Hey.
Yeah, but you're here.
I wish I wasn't here.
Hey, Kuz, did you sign a prenup?
Nothing. No.
Hey, just wink if you did. Okay. Honey mustard on steak, there's no way. Listen,
well, okay,
ketchup is one. Ketchup I can't even come along with because if the steak is good, it needs nothing.
Right.
But honey mustard.
Well, so usually what I'll do is I'll make French fries, and so she'll put the honey mustard on the plate for the French fries, but then the leftover honey mustard, she gets it with the steak.
I have an issue with that. I'm sorry, but I do.
Oh, I do too.
Okay.
Maybe I bring it up.
They're not chicken tendies. Like, come on.
Honey mustard on steak. I love it. By the way, Kuz letting us in. Thanks. Thank goodness Nicole doesn't listen to the show. She wouldn't like us very much.
She only listens.
Not like you very much.
She only listens if you ever tweet something and tag me, and she'll go back and listen. So
Good.
As long as you don't do that, I'll be fine today.
Good, because I'd probably be on thin ice with her if she found out.
Kuz brings up an interesting point, though. He's going to merge the bank account. It's a good move by Kuz, I think. But not everybody does that, do they? Not everybody. Do you have the merging bank account? Say, I do. I have had with Steph. That's because my first job was $8,000. Steph's was $20,000. So
Score.
I made sure I merged it.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. She makes more than I do, so might as well.
Yeah. So, right now in my situation, we're not really that merged. Kind of like, it's kind of like oil and water. We're together, but it's not like together just because my wife's going to med school. So it's kind of merged, but it's kind of not.
Right.
But once she gets a degree and gets her own practice, hey, we'll be merging. There's going to be some more fun going towards, some fantasy football bets and things like that, just say.
Yeah, by the way, for your vices, whether it's the stock market, the fantasy football, the whatever, it's probably better you don't have a merged account. That you can have more peaceful dinners that way.
She has no idea what's going on. You better leave it, Brent.
I think she knows exactly what's going on. So
yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Enjoy it. It's one of those Hallmark holidays that I can't stand. But anyway, good luck with it this weekend on Happy Valentine's. It's Daytona 500 Day for me, okay? Sorry, Steph.
Well, Brent, I mean, did you get Steph anything? Do a card, flowers, or a nice date night or anything? Or it's just Daytona 500 coverage?
No, and no. And, I'm not a big card guy because, again, that's I think Hallmark folks have brainwashed us. So I don't think the card thing is legit. I'm not spending $6 on a card, and I'm not cheap. I will do the flower thing, and there's potential for Steph to get flowers. If you're listening, Steph, there's potential, but it's not guaranteed. And there definitely won't be, like, a Valentine's Day, like, dinner. If we're going to dinner tomorrow night, it's because we have Saturday and we're allowed to go to dinner, so we're going to go to dinner. But it's not because, hey, let's go get the Valentine's Day special at such and such a restaurant.
Yeah. Well, I'm inspired. What can I say? I mean, you guys have been married for how long? I guess when you're that pot committed, I guess you have an understanding of, hey, let's go out to dinner or something like that, but you don't go out of your way anymore. Okay. I can't wait to get 10 years plus
years,
married.
Man.
21. That's impressive, dude.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
21 years and still happily married. At least I am, but I'm on the road half the time. I'm not sure if she's happily married. Anyway, all right. Let's get back to Trevor Lawrence. That marriage between him and the Jaguars happening in late April. Todd McShay, ESPN analyst, of course, does a bunch of mock-ups. He was inside the facility today for the ESPN coverage. I chased him down, Austin. You said, what am I going to get up here? I saw Todd walking out of the building. We were across the way in the parking lot. And I have to go around a fence to kind of get where he's – and I start hoofing it, man. I'm like, I'm catching up with McShay. I'm not getting Trevor Lawrence, not getting Urban Meyer. I'm going to catch up with Todd McShay and at least ask him if he'll take a few minutes. And so he's busy, man. He's getting in his car. He's actually in his car. He sees me kind of like out of breath. And I say, hey, can you help a poor soul? We drove 6 hours. We weren't getting in, but we came up here anyway. And I'd appreciate it if you took like 2 or 3 minutes just to answer a couple of Trevor Lawrence questions. He was kind enough to drive over to the parking lot. He answered a couple of Trevor Lawrence questions. And here's the conversation with Todd McShay.
Well, you got to be in there. Did you see everything you thought you'd see in 52 throws from Trevor?
Yeah, I did. I mean, listen, nobody's perfect. There were a couple balls that fluttered, if you want to nitpick. He missed a throw rolling to his left where he kind of overshot it. But other than that, he was darn perfect. He really was. The timing and really the ability in the short game and also in the goal line situations inside the red zone, you can see his ball placement and how twitchy he is. And by that I mean how quick he is to get his feet set, drop, and then also to release the ball. And I talked to Urban Meyer for about a half hour yesterday. That's one of the things that he was really impressed by when he was watching. Because Urban's system, there's a lot of POs, run pass option, quick game screens, and you got to be able to get the ball out quickly and do it accurately to lead receivers to yards after catch. And for a long-levered 6'6" quarterback, Trevor Lawrence has a quick, compact release, and he's like that shortstop that can get it out.
I know he checks all the boxes, but for a guy who evaluates, why is he so special? Why is he Andrew Luck? Why is he Peyton Manning, John Elway kind of category?
Well, find me a flaw. But that's really what it comes down to. Because the only thing you can say by studying his tape that you don't know doesn't mean it's a red flag or a flaw, but you don't necessarily know as much as some other quarterbacks is some of those anticipatory throws over the middle, before the receiver breaks. And in this offense, there's a lot of short game screens and vertical perimeter stuff, right? So that's the one aspect you didn't see as much from him as maybe some other quarterback prospects. But I mean, you're talking size, durability, toughness, competitiveness, mobility at 6'1", 6'6", the ability to run away from guys and kill pursuit angles. I mean, this guy's he's just special. They don't many like him, and I think he's a decade type of prospect out of college.
All right, last one. By the way, that was Hasselbeck that drew that comparison.
It was. Yeah. That's all right.
We're listening in the car, so we weren't watching. But
he's smarter than me anyway.
You like the Meyer-Lawrence unification here? That partnership. I mean, it's mutually beneficial potentially, especially for Urban. But do you think he can take Trevor Lawrence to the heights that he needs to go to?
I do. I think it will work well. It'll be interesting to see Urban. I've known Urban for a long time. We worked for a full year when he's taking time off when working for ESPN, and I was down at his house every single Wednesday. So I've gotten to know Urban, and I'm fascinated to see how he transitions from college to the NFL in terms of he's so into psychology and leadership and getting guys to bring the best that they can bring. And he's got Darren Bevel, the offensive coordinator. He's got Schottenheimer as a quarterback coach. So he's got good people around him. But I do think it's going to work. It's going to be, it's going to take a year or two. You can't just build an organization that's picking number one overall and expect to be in the Super Bowl or even the playoffs. But I think in a couple of years, they finally, after all these years, they haven't had a first pick. Was it 30-something years, and they haven't had a first number one overall pick, I should say. And so they finally have the number one overall pick in the year that you really want to have it with Trevor.
And he just hit it right on the head there. I mean, again, I just don't think you can undervalue or overvalue, really, the impact that the Jags being the number one pick in this year. Again, we've talked about how unlucky they've been at times, but it's in this year when this prospect is available. I mean, there's some lucky moments here. Not only the Jets winning, but the fact that you're getting the number one pick with the quarterback available. There was a lot of talk this morning on some of the shows I was listening. The separation is growing between Lawrence and the other quarterbacks. I think this is a good quarterback draft, but the separation is there. And Austin, I mentioned Tim Hasselbeck because on the shows this morning, both guys were in, and it was Hasselbeck that actually made the comparison to other quarterbacks. Now, he wasn't saying Trevor Lawrence is Tom Brady or Trevor Lawrence is Peyton Manning or Trevor Lawrence is Cam Newton, but he was highlighting characteristics of those guys' games, and he can run Cam Newton in these situations around the line of scrimmage. He has this Peyton Manning, has this Tom Brady shimmy in the pocket when he's away from a pass rush. But it was interesting that a lot of people can't seem to comp Trevor Lawrence to other players, but he's the traits of some of the greats.
No, without a doubt. I mean, in terms of on scale of his productivity in college and just kind of rank him, you hear a lot of the end comparisons. Like this is the highest ranked quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. And listen, did Andrew Luck win the Super Bowl ever? No, he did not. But even when he got on the scene, there wasn't much of a drop-off from the Peyton Manning time to the Andrew Luck time. And Andrew Luck, obviously, in his own right, made a couple Pro Bowls, put up some pretty big numbers. And it's sad to say, I think, and then, listen, maybe Mark Brunell's got something to say about it, but I think if Andrew Luck played for Jacksonville Jaguars, he'd probably be the best quarterback in Jaguars history. So we're talking about a guy where that could be the baseline for what the Jaguars have coming to them. And then, there could be obviously that high ceiling as well. So, yeah, obviously this is a fantastic situation to be in. The stars have lined. I'm going to be honest, out of my own self a little bit, I'm a little jealous of, New York Jets people. They have something to talk about. Who are we taking? Are we taking Zach Wilson? Are we taking, are we going to take Trey Lance? Are we going to take Fields? Those people right now, they're in the second, third, fourth, and fifth picks. They have a long, tedious date on their hands because there is no clear-cut second-place guy right now, in my opinion. But we all know who the first-place guy is. And then that makes the job of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it makes the job of us very, very, very easy. And that guy is obviously Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, man. It's interesting because that is fun when you can talk about, okay, they're going to take this guy, and take that guy. We've had that for 10 years in a row. We've had all these top picks, and you've had those discussions. We've never had that kind of discussion, and so that's pretty cool. Hey, have you ever heard the phrase levered in your life, or at least this much? Long levered is the buzz phrase. That's what Trevor Lawrence is. 6'5" and almost 6'6", long levered.
I'm I'm just gonna say this though, man. McShay, when you caught him he said fast twitch. That was one of the words that I had. So we should be like the Pee Wee's Playhouse used to. It's like the word of the day. I'm looking for fluid. I'm looking for fast twitch.
We should have done like a Visca bingo. Done like pro day bingo.
Moxie, fast twitch, fluid, long limbed, lever. Yes.
We can do that. We can definitely do that. Get your Valentine's Day cards ready for Trevor Lawrence. As Kuz said today on social media, he will be the Jaguars' #1 pick for Valentine's Day and for the draft and beyond. We'll be back. Action Sports 690. More Trevor talk on the way from the road from Clemson, South Carolina, and heading back home to Jacksonville.
ESN 690 Sports Center.
Friday, I'm Jake Mitchell. Jaguars' new head coach Urban Meyer is catching some flack for the controversial hiring Chris Doyle, who was the strength and conditioning coach at the University of Iowa, but has been accused of many misdeeds, including racist language, pulling players of color to a different standard, and bullying other students, amongst other allegations. Here's what Coach Urban Meyer had to say.
I vet everyone on our staff, and like I said, the relationship goes back close to 20 years, and a lot of hard questions asked, a lot of vetting involved, and with all our staff. But we did a very good job vetting that one.
The entire Jaguars coaching staff was revealed yesterday. And elsewhere in the league, a source is reporting that Super Bowl MVP Tom Brady will have to have minor knee surgery this offseason. The SportsCenter update is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Cease and desist.
You gotta love lawyer talk, don't you? I got a letter from the competitor's lawyer accusing us of stealing all their best people. They demanded that we cease and desist. The ugly truth is that the other company was actively driving away their best people. Management didn't treat them right, so they voted with their feet. And most of those plumbers and techs initially hired on somewhere else other than Griffin Service. Except those somewhere else companies weren't any better in terms of how they mistreated their people. So a few of those guys came to work for me at Griffin Service, where I absolutely gave them the respect and appreciation they deserved. Then word got around.
If you want the best job you'll ever have, come work for Tom at Griffin Service.
That's good news for amazing AC techs and plumbers, and bad news for my competitors and their lawyers. Because I'm not going to stop revolutionizing the AC and plumbing industries here in Jacksonville, and I'll never cease and desist from treating my people and my customers the way they deserve.
GriffinService.com.
License number 1250697.
Hey, boss, check this out. You're never home alone, and you're never away from home with Safe Touch.
What now? Never home alone. Now that one I get. It's because of the two-way communicator.
Yup. Any emergency and you're talking with the operator in seconds.
Right. Never home alone. Yeah, but what about this never away from home thing?
See, with Safe Touch's smart home automation, you can control your house from anywhere.
What, is it that smartphone thingy again?
Yeah, with the Safe Touch app, you can check your camera feeds, turn on the lights, drop the AC down, lock the doors. Boss, it's like you're there.
Never away from home. Never home alone, never away from home. This changes nothing. I still hate Safe Touch, and we still gotta stick to the Crooks or Us golden rule. Stay away from Safe Touch houses. I need an aspirin.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Everybody loves selfies, right? It's the way we all like to say, hey, it's me. No pretending, just the real you. Seems like a little thing, but little things mean a lot. Adding a smarter banking account at Community First might seem like a little thing too. But if you want a smart way to move your money around, you know what works for you. So do what's right for you. Community First. Just be yourself. Add an account on your phone, tablet, or desktop at justbeyourself.com.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Transmission problems? Call Action Transmission Specialists on Merrill Road, where you get the work done right the first time by the experts. I'm Robin Sidbury, the owner. Our techs can service all makes and models, and we provide a nationwide warranty, so you have the peace of mind knowing we solve your transmission troubles fairly and honestly and guaranteed nationwide. Call us at Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road, where quality counts. Get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
We've got Rick here again. Will the second time be the charm?
I don't know, Bob. He's got a lot of love for the game, but he's not the player he once was.
He's got passion in his eyes. He passes the beer. Looks like he's making a play for the candy aisle.
I've never seen this in my 35 years.
He's going right for the heart-shaped box. He picks up the chocolate and heads straight to the checkout.
Unbelievable. Rick comes through with a last-minute Valentine's Day victory.
This Sunday, don't forget to make happy on Valentine's Day with a heart-shaped box of Russell Stover chocolates.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti.
I despise analytics. It felt like Kevin Cash lost his ability to feel the game.
Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Or streaming live on the ESPN app.
It was a good day, considering kind of short notice. Prepared for like a week probably back in California, then obviously transitioned back to South Carolina to the finishing touches on, get with the guys, get some timing down. But man, I was pretty pleased with it. Obviously, like anything, you have some throws that you wish you could go back and hit a little bit better. But as a whole, I think it was a good day. Receivers ran really well. Just really appreciate those guys, Cornell for coming back, and Sharon and Caleb and Chris. All of them means a lot to me, helped me out a lot. So just appreciate those guys. I thought it was a good day.
Well, I thought it was a good day, too, for Trevor Lawrence, and I just don't know what was going to constitute a bad day for Trevor Lawrence in this setting. Interestingly enough, you always wonder, and the Gators have done this in the past, and partly because they didn't have an indoor facility, I think, at the time. When we've gone to some of their pro days, they've been outside, and it was rainy here yesterday and a little bit drizzly even today. It wasn't downpour rain, a little chilly today, but good thing they had the indoor facility. And they could have gone outside on their practice fields. The facilities at these places, and I know everybody knows this, are just unbelievable. But a quick note on that, Austin, back in the Action Sports Jack studios, as we're on the road somewhere in South Carolina, heading back to Jacksonville. I just can't help but look at these facilities. Like Florida, after Meyer left, has now put a lot of money into facilities, whether that's a standalone football facility they're building, or going to build the indoor facility they have built. Interestingly enough, and I don't know if you saw this on the broadcast, but Reese Davis mentioned it, C.J. Spiller from Union County, the Jacksonville area, is now on the staff at Clemson. He had a pro day, and it rained like crazy, and they didn't have the indoor facility. Well, that was when Dabo first started, back in Dabo must have started in like 08, 09 as the head coach, and he was already on the staff anyway. Well, shortly after that they put the new facility in, and the facilities at Clemson are unbelievable. And what has also happened when Clemson put new facilities in? They won. They won big, and it's part of the college game. But don't sleep on narrative and this topic in Jacksonville. The facilities are going to change. Urban Meyer knows that, knows it from the college game. He is going to bring that. And by the way, a lot of NFL teams already have. So the Jags are late on this. But the Jaguars' facilities are changing. I think they're going to have some changes inside their building already as soon as this year. One, because of the amount of staff they have. But two, because I think they want this to happen ASAP. And I don't know what that looks like, by the way. I don't know what that means. I think eventually they end up with a standalone facility, whether it's outside the stadium or somewhere else in the Jacksonville area. It could be in St. Johns County, for all I know. But the Jacksonville Jaguars facilities are going to change. And I don't know if it's paramount at the NFL level and equates to winning, but it sure did at Clemson.
No, listen, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit where it's not how much you spend on it, it's about like how much they care. And if Urban Meyer comes in here, builds a brand new practice facility, state-of-the-art equipment, all that stuff, like it's not necessarily a recruiting tool, but then word gets out like, hey, look what Jacksonville's doing. Like, they must really care about their players, and then maybe that does get you a player in free agency. Like, it's the little things. It's definitely the little things that make the biggest difference, right? And if you have guys who enjoy or look forward to, coming to treatments, going to weightlifting, using the locker room facilities, all that type of stuff, that is an edge. That makes a difference.
Yeah, no doubt. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. We continue to talk about Trevor Lawrence. Going to talk about J.J. Watt in a little bit, too. Do you have any interest in a guy like J.J. Watt? We'll also hear from Steve Smith, former receiver of the NFL, what he had to say about Trevor Lawrence. He was there today, so that is all on the way. Have an interview with Joey Logano, too. So a lot coming up here at Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Daytona 500 week as well.
And here's the question, Brent, because obviously you guys were in the parking lot. You know, you're trying to get past the bouncer. It didn't come to fruition. Did any part of you think about sneaking into that whole workout? Any party whatsoever?
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of part of me, because I'm not sure I'll ever be back up at Clemson the next time I'm back up at Clemson, and this is serious, is when they retire his jersey, and they will do that at some point, I would imagine. And I think they will do that. I shouldn't say they no doubt will do that, but I think they'll do that. And I don't know if they have the standards in place that he had to win a Heisman Trophy or not, but he's going to go down as like the best quarterback in school history, along with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And so I would think they would. But I thought about it. But the Clemson folks have been really good. I'm a relationship guy.
Oh, I think we just lost Brent. And you know what? Probably for the best, right? Because when he started saying he's a relationship guy and he wasn't going to sneak in, see? TMZ, they would have snuck in. TMZ would have been right on the field standing next to Urban Meyer, asking him his thoughts for every single throw. But you know what? Oh, he's back now? Okay. Sorry, Brent. Welcome back.
I hear you. No, you're not wrong. TMZ probably would have. But listen, I chased Todd McShay down. I got Steve Smith. I would have chased down Urban Meyer, but they snuck out the back. It was a different entrance, so I couldn't get to Meyer. But I would have done that. Trevor, hey, listen, Trevor and I are going to be in Jacksonville for a long time together. Got to get this relationship off on the right foot.
Yep, and make sure you save that, Coos, for the restraining order, because it's comments like that can be used in a trial against Brent Martineau. Brent, when we come back, I want you to think about this question. What was like a couple places where you actually snuck into, maybe, as a youth or doing your professional job of Action Sports Jax, but what are some places that you snuck into that you probably shouldn't have, or you never got caught for, let's just say?
I like it. We'll do that when we come back. Also, J.J. Watt. I want your take on J.J. Watt. Any interest in him with the Jacksonville Jaguars? That's coming up on ESPN 690.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence. Or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit, guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope, and you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904-515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000. Or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
In choosing the law firm to represent you, pick a firm that's been around a long time. I've seen so many come and go. And pick a firm with the financial strength to give you the best chance to be fully compensated. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Whether it's a car crash case or an insurance dispute, You need a firm which can match the other side dollar for dollar. Let us fight for you. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. Offices, Jacksonville.
Have you seen it? The all-new showroom at Arlington Toyota is open, and they're ready to celebrate with big savings, even on pre-owned. Celebrate savings and hearing the words, "You're approved." That's right. With Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, almost everyone is approved. Plus, if you want selection, Arlington's got it. With over 400 pre-owned on the lot, what are you waiting for? Celebrate with savings and come see the brand new facility at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
We are the entertainment you love and information that shapes your day. We are your lifeline. We are your companion. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune in to Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sure, we can help you knock that oil change right off your list. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge full synthetic motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $29.99, plus a $10 bonus reward if you're an AutoZone Rewards member. Not a member? We can sign you up fast, right here in store or on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Auto Parts.
This week at Macy's, use your coupon or Macy's card and get an extra 20% off just in time for Valentine's Day. Save on top of already great deals, like 35 to 55% off dazzling diamonds, gemstones, and more. And sleek handbags and wallets from Kipling, Nine West, Inc., and more top designers. Now 25% off. Plus, Star Money bonus days are going on now. Learn more at Macy's.com/Star Money. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
I'm Doug Brown. The mass exodus continues from the Texans. Defensive end J.J. Watt released today after asking the team to be let go. Watt played 10 years in Houston after being the 11th overall pick in 2011. He's one of only 3 players to win the NFL Defensive Player of the Year award 3 times. As for quarterback Deshaun Watson, who also wants out of H-Town, ESPN's Sarah Barshop.
Texans don't believe there's really anything they could get in return that would be the same value as a 25-year-old quarterback, top 5 quarterback on a reasonable contract. Under this contract through the 2025 season, technically 3 more years of franchise tag.
Sarah Barshop on Barton Hahn. Twin brothers and NFL centers Marquise and Mike Pouncey both announced their retirements today. Marquise spent 11 seasons with the Steelers. Mike played for the Dolphins and the Chargers. Serena Williams advances to the round of 16 at the Australian Open with a straight set win over Russian teenager Anastasia Potapova.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
I want you guys to hear it directly from me. I want to speak directly to you in the city of Houston. I have sat down with the McNair family, and I have asked them for my release, and we have mutually agreed to part ways at this time. I came here 10 years ago as a kid from Wisconsin who'd never really been to Texas before, and now I can't imagine my life without Texas in it. The way that you guys have treated me, besides draft night, I mean, you guys booed me on draft night. Every day after that, you treated me like family, and I truly feel like you're my family. Since that day, I have tried to do everything in my power to work and earn your respect and try and make you proud on and off the field. You guys have given me everything and more, and I can only hope that you feel like I've given you everything I have. I'm excited and looking forward to a new opportunity, but at the same time, it is always tough to move on. I just want you guys to know that I love you, I appreciate you. I appreciate the McNair family for giving me, drafting me and giving me my first opportunity in the NFL. Thank you, Houston. I love you.
Well, that is J.J. Watt, the legendary defensive player for the Houston Texans. And now Jacksonville fans and football fans maybe in the AFC South can appreciate, respect, and admire J.J. Watt without their rivalry coming into play, because this guy seems like a phenomenal human, but a phenomenal football player, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. I don't remember him getting booed, Austin Lane, back in that 2011 draft, and it just makes me chuckle a little bit because the Jaguars got Blaine Gabbert in that draft.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what kind of ovation if we could go back to 2011 and the Jaguars would draft J.J. Watt at number 10 instead of, or they trade up to get J.J. Watt at number 11 instead of trade up to get Blaine Gabbert at number 10?
Well, listen, and I've been very adamant about this, and let's go ahead and kill two birds with one stone. Now, does J.J. Watt want to come to Jacksonville? Are the Jaguars interested in J.J. Watt? Well, I shared before on the show where I truly believe that if Joe Cullen had his way back in, the 2000, I think it was 2011, it would have been 2012, I know pretty much for a fact that J.J. Watt would have been Jacksonville Jaguar if Joe Cullen had his way. Now, other things transpired, obviously. Blaine Gabbert was indeed the guy. It is what it is, but I know that Joe Cullen, even back then, and keep in mind, I mean, J.J. Watt was a highly coveted player coming out of Wisconsin, but there was still, like, this guy, hard worker, he's got the finish, but can he refine his techniques? Can he add skill set to his high intense motor, if you will? And obviously he did that. I mean, he's one of the best defensive tackles of all time. So he obviously did that, but I know Joe Cullen is a big J.J. Watt fan. So does it make sense from the Jaguars? Well, I think if you can bring a guy that's got that experience, that has that pedigree, why wouldn't you? But at the same time, let's look at this from J.J. Watt's perspective. Do you really want to come to a team now that, for lack of a better word, is going to be playing a 3-4 defense? Do you want to play that 3-4 defensive tackle because you're not going to be playing outside linebacker? Do you want in the dirt and possibly 2 gap for a couple downs and then put yours back on 3rd down and get out of the quarterback? I don't think J.J. Watt wants to do that. And listen, for all the time, the sacrifice, and the effort that he put in Houston, and he never got to touch a Super Bowl, I think the goal right now for J.J. Watt is to go to a front-running team, like the Green Bay Packers. He home, Tampa Bay. He's going to go to a team where there's a good shot of at least going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this guy's a phenomenal football player, man. I think at times it felt like he beat the Jags single-handedly, how good J.J. Watt was. And again, you can't bring up J.J. Watt without saying what he meant to that city, especially a few years ago, and what he did and raised money and rallied around in so many respects, Austin. And I'm not saying it takes a natural disaster to make this happen, but I think what J.J. Watt as a defensive player, albeit, which is a lot harder to do than if you're a quarterback, but J.J. Watt, what he meant to Houston, what he means to Houston, the city and the organization, I think that's some of the things that I've been trying to convey that Trevor Lawrence could be to Jacksonville. Like there are so many people that tell me that Trevor Lawrence is not just going to change the Jaguars organization on the field and with wins and everything. He's going to change everything around it, which includes the city. And so that could be what we're getting here in Trevor Lawrence. That's what Houston did get for the last decade, J.J. Watt, and his career needs to be appreciated. I think what you brought up is fascinating, by the way. The Joe Cullen stuff is fascinating. Does he still feel that way, first of all? I think you're dead on about J.J. Watt. If I'm looking at this from J.J. Watt's perspective. Jacksonville is not really a destination I'm interested in. Pittsburgh, you can see because his brothers. Could you go there? Tampa, because, well, you know who. And keep in mind, a guy like Ndamukong Suh, they're going to lose a little bit off the line. They could lose Barrett as well. I mean, they're going to lose some of that front. So J.J. Watt could go there. I think you're right. I think he's going to try to go to a contender. And Austin, I think what's interesting about that is I believe the Tom Brady influence on the league is Brady now has 7 of these dang things. He's got 7 world championships. And for guys that have been brilliant in their career, like a J.J. Watt, he's played a decade. He's done everything you can do individually. But he hasn't even sniffed that. I mean, he really hasn't come close to winning a Super Bowl or even being in a Super Bowl. I think now that thirst is as real as it's ever been. And I'm not saying he's the only guy, but I think that's a Brady thing. I think people are now, they respect Brady so much that I think some of the older players, they are jealous of him. I mean, in a good way, but they envy him so much to be able to do what he wants to do, and all he wants to do is win and chase rings. And I think J.J. Watt's in that game.
No, without a doubt. I mean, listen, J.J. Watt's been around for a while now, since 2011, you know, and he's got a lot of accolades to add throughout those seasons. I mean, I think he was All-Pro 5 times. He had 2 seasons of 20-plus sacks. You know, I mean, he's Defensive Player of the Year, for crying out loud. And, you know, he's had his fair share of injuries as well. So this guy has definitely put the time, the effort in, and earned his stripes. You know, and obviously, like, from Houston's perspective, if you're a Texans fan right now, like, you get, like, J.J. Watt. Let's be honest here. J.J. Watt isn't the same guy back in 2012 that got 20.5 sacks. Okay? I mean, anybody's going to tell you that.
No.
But he can still contribute. And it's also, obviously, from the leadership standpoint of what he can bring to the table as well. So, I mean, even though maybe from the productivity standpoint, like, Houston's not too worried about it, but to essentially lose I mean, you lost 2 faces of the franchise. You lost DeAndre Hopkins. You've lost J.J. Watt. And we'll see with, you know, Deshaun Watson as well what happens. But obviously it's not a good run for Houston right now. And back a little bit towards J.J. Watt and his goals. Like, listen, you play that long at that high level. You never get to play in the biggest game. Like, he deserves it. I mean, listen, and this is me coming from a former Jaguar who hated watching J.J. Watt get after our quarterbacks every single year, right? Like, I mean, I respect the heck out of J.J. Watt. He's a Wisconsin guy, Midwest guy, more power to him. But I'm not going to lie, when I played in the league, I wasn't a fan of J.J. Watt. I want to see J.J. Watt on TV, but now I have a newfound respect, and I'm going to say this, the guy deserves to play at least in 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it sometimes just doesn't happen for guys. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's the way professional sports are, and that's why I've never really put this huge, you know, emphasis on winning rings. Sometimes situational stuff doesn't work out. I mean, they've been good but not great. They haven't been good enough around him. He has been great. He's a Hall of Famer. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So J.J. Watt, I can see why he wants to go chase that Super Bowl. We'll see if he's able to get it. You can try to pick your spot. It doesn't always work out for you. It's not automatic. We know that, unless maybe you are on Brady's team. And it does seem to happen more often than not. I want to address this one more from the Jag standpoint, and I want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong. You just said a little bit. He's not the same player as he was in 2012. And I don't want to disrespect J.J. Watt, but I've really felt like this now, coming off those injuries, the set of injuries that he had, and even last year, I'm just not afraid of J.J. Watt anymore, Austin. Like, he's definitely not that player, but I don't even know how much he's got left in the tank. Like, I really feel like this is the downside. I did look at some Pro Football Focus numbers. Depends how much stock you want to put in. I know people vary on that. But I think he was like a top 10 defensive lineman, according to some of those numbers. So he might have played better than I even thought. But I think Jags fans, if you want this and you're like, hey, we have the money to go do it, I would say a little buyer beware. I feel like you're buying the name and maybe not as much the game anymore. I think J.J. Watt's on the downside, and he can't dominate games like he used to anymore.
I mean, listen, to me, he's not going to be that full-time player, but at the same time, you don't need him to be the full-time player. I kind of look at with what Baltimore did with Calais Campbell. You know, now Calais Campbell's, how was he, 20.
33. He's like 33.
Okay, so J.J. Watt's 31 years old, right? So J.J. Watt's a little younger than Calais Campbell. Like, listen, Calais Campbell went to Baltimore. Obviously, Calais Campbell will be the first one to tell you he's probably on the back nine of his career. But he can still contribute. He can still get his paws in the air and knock on those batted balls and things like that. And that's the same thing with J.J. Watt. Like, if I was the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm not going to bring J.J. Watt to get 50 to 60 plays a game. I'm bringing J.J. Watt in on third down. I'm bringing J.J. Watt in on a 4th and 1. I'm bringing J.J. Watt in when the game's on the line. That's when you can use J.J. Watt. And especially the way defenses are set up now with they're always rotating. Like, you don't need J.J. Watt to come in and give you 60 reps. Hardly anybody does that anymore. I mean, listen, Aaron Donald does that, but that's about it. So I think with what Watt can offer, he still has something left in the tank. I still think he still has a skill set that should be utilized, but you're crazy to think if he's going to be an every down lineman and give you the productivity like he back, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, and that's, by the way, that's not just on J.J. Watt. That's Father Time, and that. I mean, even Calais Campbell's not going to give you the production that he probably had even back in 2017. Now, I think we all know that. I think what you have to be careful of, this is what I say if you're looking at it from an organizational point of view, is you're not going to get that player that everybody thinks he is. And so, therefore, everybody knows the name. I mean, J.J. Watt's going to be like, oh, my gosh, I got J.J. Watt. Imagine that, right? I even said in a tweet today, when I saw he was released, I was like, wow, J.J. Watt's released. And I was like, okay, this really isn't that surprising. We kind of thought that might head that way. He's at that point of his career where it might not even make sense to be a part of Houston anymore, and it might not make sense for them. So what happens with some of these players, though, I think even Calais is getting like, I want to say it was like a 2-year, $20-something million deal. It was like 50, maybe it was $15 million a year. That's what he was going to get in Jacksonville. I'll have to look that up. But my feeling is there's a chance you overpay a guy too much in J.J. Watt for the production you're going to get, because he's probably still like a 12, 13, 14, $15 million guy, Austin. But if you just put him in the situations you said, I'm not paying a guy that much money to just play on those kind of downs.
Well, see, but here's the thing, though. I think if you're Jacksonville, then you're $14 to $15 million. I think if you're a Super Bowl contender, because let's be honest, how much more money does J.J. Watt really need? Okay, I mean, the guy signed some pretty big contracts. And I think J.J. Watt's main focus right now, like we've talked about, is to win a Super Bowl. So sometimes you see these guys who are on the back nine of their careers who, have a couple years, good years left, let's just say. Well, they will take a pay cut because they want to go to a team to win a Super Bowl. I feel like J.J. Watt falls in the ladder. I think that he is willing to take the pay cut if that means that he can play on a contender, just because I think a Super Bowl and experience in that moment means that much to him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you're right. I think he'll play for $8 million, or $6 million, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And by the way, he probably still demands a certain paycheck. He's not like that far on the back nine of his career. I think he does have something left. I just think this is a player, while it sounds like, oh, that'd be pretty cool, it's just not the time or place right now for the Jags. I really don't feel that. It's so different if you go get a guy like J.J. Watt versus a guy like Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is a huge paycheck guy. And the Jags aren't ready to win maybe right now like that. But I compare him to Malik Jackson. You give him the deal now because you feel like you're going to get another 2 or 3 years out of him, even after this year, where that money will come in handy, and then you're really ready to win, and he's been a big part of it. So it's just a philosophical look. It doesn't make a lot of sense right now to the Jacksonville Jaguars, in my opinion, on J.J. Watt. I want to talk something else NFL-wise. I'm tired of the Russell Wilson story, Austin. This is such a stupid story, in my opinion. You can tell me I'm crazy, but Russell Wilson isn't going anywhere. I mean, this is the greatest example of our world today and the impact the media has. One statement or two statements from the Dan Patrick Show that you can even tell he was trying to be diplomatic about it. He wasn't trying to raise a stink. And all of a sudden now, everybody's got trade partners and phone calls and the organization being mad at him, and he's mad at the organization. Can we stop on the Russell Wilson stuff, man? He ain't going anywhere. He's going to be in Seattle. I think this stuff is so fabricated on the Russell Wilson front. I might be dead wrong. I don't think I'm wrong.
No, I mean, I think it's prefabricated, but let's be honest, though. When the Seahawks announced that they're disappointed in Russell Wilson for what he said, well, then what do you think is going to happen? Right? Because now we have both sides.
Did they announce it? Did they? Did they announce it or just say it, or somebody reported it?
I mean, it wasn't an official. It's not like they went on Twitter and like an official statement regarding Russell Wilson. We're disappointed. I mean, I think they said it to somebody. I mean, I can try to look it up real quick here.
Yeah, I think it was a report, and that you just never know with those reports. Like I can say, hey, Trevor Lawrence today. I mean, he really missed more throws than you think. Or somebody said this about Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I just think it's one of those things, man. I think people are talking because, like I always say, there's really not a whole lot of accountability when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, it says here it's reported that a source told, and I'm trying to see who the it is Dan Patrick. A source told me that the Seahawks management is not happy with Russell Wilson and his camp for taking this to the media, Dan Patrick said. You wonder if they're going to be able to coexist. The current situation is not sustainable. That's what I was told. So this is coming from Dan Patrick's mouth, who obviously had Russell Wilson on. So, I mean, once again, I don't know if you buy into that or not. I don't know why Dan Patrick would make that up. I'm sure there is some back and forth, but to answer your question, no, I don't see Russell Wilson going anywhere right now.
Yeah, I listen, and again, that's Dan Patrick. I probably take a little bit more than a source said, because he doesn't really throw that stuff out there. Although he's done that before. He has thrown some stuff out there. Source says is just like there's one person in the building that like might be in the training room that kind of thinks this way. Again. The bottom line here is everywhere I turn in the last couple of days, I see the Russell Wilson story. And I just think this is like the punctuation of today's media cycle. And by the way, I love the media cycle. Like, I love the fact that we can talk about it. It's great for our stuff. I just think sometimes we have to see through this and peel it back. He's not going anywhere. It's like, can you name another quarterback? Because next week it's going to be the next guy. All of a sudden, Josh Allen is going to.
I mean, it was Aaron Rodgers at the playoffs. It was Aaron Rodgers the night after playoffs. All right, it was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and he wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah,
and you knew it. He wasn't going anywhere, right?
People were speculating because Aaron Rodgers said, "We'll see if I'm here next year." I don't know. That's all it took for the wildfire to take part, and also. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to go right now? Let's predict where he's going to go. Like, that's the way the world works.
Yeah, well, I get it. I mean, I live it. I just want everybody to know, from my viewpoint, that all this stuff, this is snowballed big this week, kind of like the Rodgers situation. And I think the Rodgers stuff sometimes still gets floated out, even though the organization said you're crazy. He's not going anywhere. And even Rodgers has now said, I'm not going anywhere. And it's still there's stuff out there that gets proposed or thrown out there because of this huge quarterback carousel this year. I'm just telling you, man, and I'm not saying you disagree with it. I just think sometimes we got to be smart about this stuff. It makes zero sense for Russell Wilson not to be a part of Seattle at this stage of his career, and he's going to be in Seattle in the fall and probably for the next few years at the very least.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, playing, one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, playing at a very high level, you invested in him. Yeah, it would be very, very foolish, regardless of how many draft picks you got or whatever the case may be, to trade Russell Wilson away because of a comment that was essentially said on the Dan Patrick Show.
Yeah, I hear you. We'll see what happens with Russell Wilson. I love the quarterback stuff. I'm really just interested to see which one's going to pop next.
Well, I mean, you've heard Deshaun Watson now. Deshaun Watson doesn't want to go to New York, supposedly. Have you seen that one yet today?
Well, yeah, I saw that, and I also saw Houston double down once again. Cal McNair, when he was talking about the J.J. Watt situation, said, he's our quarterback. He's our quarterback. Like, they're not giving into this situation, it doesn't look like, or they're just playing it perfect to drum up the price tag on Deshaun Watson. And I'm not sure where I fall on that one. I do believe Houston's a mess. I believe Watson and his agent want out. And the last time I saw that, where the Jags were a mess and Ramsey and that same agent wanted out, they got out. So I feel differently about Deshaun Watson than I do certainly about Russell Wilson. Hey, Urban Meyer asked Trevor Lawrence essentially to throw. You like that? back to the Trevor Lawrence part of things. We'll also hear Steve Smith, what he had to say about the future Jaguars quarterback after his pro day. We're live on the road. Hang with us. Don't watch the stream too much. You might get dizzy. The South Carolina Rows are terrible, but make sure you listen to us on all the different platforms here at Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mostly cloudy today with scattered showers, a thunderstorm possible, and very mild. Highs in the mid-70s, dropping into the low 60s tonight. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30. Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where now through Valentine's you can save thousands. Find out more at beardsdiamonds.com.
Cease and desist.
You gotta love lawyer talk, don't you? I got a letter from a competitor's lawyer accusing us of stealing all their best people. They demanded that we cease and desist. The ugly truth is that the other company was actively driving away their best people. Management didn't treat them right, so they voted with their feet. And most of those plumbers and techs initially hired on somewhere else other than Griffin Service. Except those somewhere else companies weren't any better in terms of how they mistreated their people. So a few of those guys came to work for me at Griffin Service, where I absolutely gave them the respect and appreciation they deserved. Then word got around.
If you want the best job you'll ever have, come work for Tom at Griffin Service.
That's good news for amazing AC techs and plumbers, and bad news for my competitors and their lawyers. Because I'm not going to stop revolutionizing the AC and plumbing industries here in Jacksonville, and I'll never cease and desist from treating my people and my customers the way they deserve.
GriffinService.com.
License number 1250697. Love is in the air.
And if you're celebrating yours, you can save thousands now through February 14th, Valentine's at Beards Diamonds.
Hundreds of specially designed one-of-a-kind pieces have been sale priced at beardsdiamonds.com.
Like a 6-carat diamond tennis bracelet, retail $10,465. Beards special Valentine price, $68.02.
You save over $3,500.
Or 2-carat diamond solitaire earrings, retail $94.50. Beards Valentine price, $61.42. You save over $3,200.
And just in time for Valentine's, how about a Circle of Love 1-carat diamond necklace? Retail $13.50. Beards Diamonds price $8.77.
See hundreds more at beardsdiamonds.com.
And if you're getting engaged this Valentine's, Beards Diamonds has the largest selection of engagement rings and GIA certified loose diamonds at the lowest prices in Jacksonville, guaranteed.
And with every purchase between now and Valentine's, your loved one receives a free dinner at Fogo de Chao.
Find out more at the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Get the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed at Beards Diamonds.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Appliances may work on your schedule, but they quit on theirs. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we'll get your appliances back up and running in no time at all. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have repaired more than 100,000 appliances over the past 35 years, servicing Jacksonville to St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor, plus a 100% satisfaction guarantee. When your appliances quit, we're ready to get started. For quality repair at a price that's fair, visit AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Join the movement to end colon cancer. March to Get Screened is celebrating its 12th year supporting colon cancer awareness and life-saving screenings. Held on March 28th, March to Get Screened is a family affair including a 5K race, a 1-mile fun run, and fun activities for all. Safety measures will be in place as well as virtual participation options. All proceeds benefit the nonprofit Borland Groover Foundation. Register today, donate, or for more information, head to marchtoGetScreened.com. That's marchtoGetScreened.com.
I'm Action News Jax Tanika Hughes, and one of the great things about living in Jacksonville is our diverse communities. It's so important that the local stories we cover in our newscasts reflect the people who live here. That's why we've launched Action News Jax Gets Real, to get real on issues like racism, housing challenges, and unequal access to health care. It's having difficult conversations, as well as celebrating people making a difference. This is Action News Jax Gets Real. Real talk, real change.
Players Championship is proud to support the Salzbacher Center's mission to empower homeless and at-risk women, children, and men through health, housing, and income services. It's 25 days until the Players.
Body Armor is proud to sponsor the number 12 Team Penske car, driven by Team Body Armor member Ryan Blaney, with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and B vitamins, plus no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Body Armor provides hard-working hydration and more. Find Body Armor at your neighborhood Winn-Dixie.
It is the home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18, and make it your home course as well. The golf club at Southampton in North St. Johns County, located off County Road 210. It's family-owned and operated. Southampton is a fun course to play, and the golf club at Southampton offers club membership programs starting at just $79. With its elite practice facilities and player-friendly golf course design, it'll be your gateway to a great time with the family or with your buddies. For information on the membership programs, call the golf club at Southampton, 904-287-PLAY. Again, it's 904-287-PLAY.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Welcome into the show, a name you know. If you've been listening and watching ESPN for a long time, I know you know him. We're going to call him one of the forefathers, if you will, of sports radio, Mike Greenberg.
Thank you. Forefathers is an interesting, that's fascinating. Every day, as I talk to more people, I get older and older. So that's kind of funny.
Listen weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. in your car or stream them. ESPN690.com.
Brent Martineau.
I'm not the guy that likes to, be over dramatic.
Austin Lane.
Well, you're almost in tears yesterday.
I was.
So.
Well, that was a little different.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Did you notice Urban Meyer right out there the whole time?
Yeah, I saw him. I saw a lot of the guys coming through, but yeah, I saw him. Just waved at him real quick. Obviously, it's can't really communicate out here, but yeah, it's been cool to see all the teams come out, and just really cool. Like I said, a cool opportunity. It's definitely a cool thing to experience. I'm glad I got to still do it. Obviously.
That is Trevor Lawrence on ESPN earlier today. They got to talk to him. Brent Martineau en route back to Jacksonville, South Carolina roads. Kind of slow driving for Marcel Robinson. Really praying that he doesn't get in an accident, because I would be one heck of a meme if that happens from the passenger seat. Kind of praying that he does get a speeding ticket, because I think that would be kind of hilarious. But that's what's going on right now. As we head back to Jacksonville, Action Sports Jax Studios. That's Austin Lane in Coos territory. I want you to talk a little bit UFC, by the way, in a bit. We also have some Daytona stuff, but we've been stuck on Trevor Lawrence, and I want to get to that even more in a moment. And I planned on doing that more in a moment. But I just saw this out, Austin, and the Fritz Pollard Alliance, which is, if you don't know what it is, it's an organization, essentially, that claims in their mission to champion diversity in the NFL through education and providing its membership with resources that will help them succeed at every level of the game. Well, they just came out, and let me read the statement. They just came out with a statement about the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it says this: a failure of leadership by the Jacksonville Jaguars. At a time when the NFL has failed to solve its problem with racial hiring practices, it is simply unacceptable to welcome Chris Doyle into the ranks of NFL coaches. Doyle's departure from the University of Iowa reflected a tenure riddled with poor judgment and mistreatment of black players. His conduct should be as disqualifying for the NFL as it was for University of Iowa. Urban Meyer's statement, quote, "I've known Chris for close to 20 years," end quote, reflects the good old boy network that is precisely the reason there is such a disparity in employment opportunities for black coaches. That's from the Fritz Pollard Alliance moments ago. And the headline is Failure of Leadership by the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. That's a lot to take in. We talked a lot about this yesterday with Chris Doyle. He is the Director of Sports Performance for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was let go or mutually agreed to part ways with Iowa last summer after 20 years in Kirk Ferentz's program, widely regarded as a very good strength and conditioning coach and performance coach. But the mistreatment of black players to the extent of allegations of racial remarks and bullying forced his departure. Urban Meyer, friendly with him, vetted him out, according to Meyer yesterday when he met with the media, but hired him as Director of Sports Performance. as we talk about Trevor Lawrence all day, this was a lucky moment today for Urban Meyer and the Jaguars in a sense that Trevor Lawrence was throwing, and that became the headline and washed away the headline of Doyle. Because Doyle yesterday is something we talked about a lot on our show, but everyone around the country was talking about it. I flipped on a bunch of national shows last night, Austin, and Urban Meyer and the Jaguars were getting hammered to the point of the players should revolt and say, we're not playing for this guy. We're not doing this. That's kind of the table setter. What's your take on what the Fritz Pollard Alliance just said and this ongoing controversial hire of Chris Doyle?
Yeah, listen, I mean, this kind of reaffirms what I spoke about yesterday to open the show with. I think people out there thought that, okay, we'll talk about the Doyle stuff today, and then it'll go through the news cycle, and then we'll forget all about it. And it'll just be the next big thing. Now it's Trevor Lawrence Pro Day, and it is what it is. But I think what you're starting to see now is, and this has been kind of the trend in this country the past couple years, is when you have something with racial bullying or racial injustice, it just doesn't go away. It's not a 24-hour news cycle, especially with social media. And this is an example of that right here. So I'm not surprised that came out. I'm not surprised people are still talking about it on the national level because it is that big of a deal. Okay, now, despite what you think about it, if he was ever found guilty or not, or despite how you feel about us talking about it too much, that's fine. But I can't stress this thing enough, that there had to be some kind of foresight when you chose to bring him on. Okay? And once again, whether he is guilty or innocent, you had to know this was going to come. And once again, we're sitting here on a day where Trevor Lawrence did his thing, and we're excited about that. But a little part of you is like, oh, well, we still got to talk about this Doyle stuff. And that's just the way it's going to be, and I feel like it's going to be like that way for a while because there are some passionate individuals out there, and I'll be one of them, that speak against stuff like this, that disagree with stuff like this, and are going to make their voices heard regarding things like this.
Yeah, and listen, I know you're not specifically talking to me. You're just saying in the masses out there. But
oh no, of course, man. Yeah,
I will say this, and I told you this yesterday. And I just know this, and because I have said this, and I believe this, and whether it's right or wrong, I do believe this. The Fritz Pollard Alliance did a good job on their part of keeping this now back into the spotlight. But the Trevor Lawrence stuff did wash that talk away nationally. We were going to bring it up again on our show. We had it planned to do. But I just think nationally, those headline kind of things, the national cycle does move on to the next thing, especially when it pertains to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But this keeps it in the cycle a little bit more. We'll see how long it stays in the cycle. The bottom line is I'm not sure that's even of utmost importance. I think it gets back to Urban Meyer. I think it gets back to Shad Khan even. Shad Khan, a minority owner, should he have allowed Urban Meyer to do this? He obviously is trusting Urban Meyer to run his organization right now. And he has to sign off on these things. And he trusts Urban Meyer, vetted this guy, and it won't be a negative impact. Well, I'd be a little bit surprised if the Jags brass isn't surprised at how much negative impact the Doyle hire is. I can't imagine they planned for this. And so I almost wonder, Austin, if they now regret it. Is Urban Meyer, is there a chance that he regrets this hire and does a 180 on this hire? Does he stick with Doyle? This loyalty to a friend and a guy that he's known for 20 years, even if he is very good at his job? Do you see him circling back and potentially have to make a U-turn on his decision to hire Chris Doyle? Because we haven't even got to the players part. Now, Chris Conley did come out on social media, and he said a couple of things. Nothing crazy, but he said a couple of things. And I think would have strong words about this. I think other players are going to have strong words about this. This is not being widely accepted, and I wonder if that could potentially force the hand of Urban Meyer, Shad Khan, the Jacksonville Jaguars, to do a U-turn on it.
I mean, maybe Shad Khan would want to. I think Urban Meyer has kind of entrenched himself now. He's definitely doing things his way. You saw that today when he stood on the field and stood next to Dabo Swinney when Trevor Lawrence was throwing. We've never really seen a coach do that before. So this is the Urban Meyer show. And I think that whatever happens with this franchise, it's going to be the Urban Meyer way. So I don't think that Chris Doyle is going to be released due to the blowback. But I also do think, and I get what you're saying. Today was Trevor Lawrence. He was trending all over Twitter and things like that. But we got to understand from a national level, though. Like, for instance, let's take Adam Schefter, for example. I think when Adam Schefter tweets something, people comment. I think he's one of the biggest influencers in the National Football League. Now, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm biased, but the guy's got 8.1 million followers. I'm looking back in Adam Schefter's timeline right now. He hasn't talked about Trevor Lawrence once in the past 3 days. He's talked about Urban Meyer bringing on Doyle twice. And then he retweeted, obviously, the statement that was just brought out. And that's Adam Schefter. So take that for how you want. Obviously there's other things in his timeline, but it shows to you that this is a big deal. People are going to talk about this. This is polarizing, and let's be honest. It's polarizing from the national level for a bad way with the Jacksonville Jaguars right now.
Hey, do you think players, and by the way, Trevor Lawrence is a guy that was outspoken this past summer. Black Lives Matter movement, also COVID-19, Let Us Play movement, I think is what it was called, or We Want to Play. Even a guy like Trevor Lawrence, I'm not going to put this on him, okay, but I'm just saying players in general, and this guy's got a big voice and a big platform, and he's going to be a loud part of that organization, even if he might not yell it. He's going to naturally be it. But do you think players, once they get in the building, some of the pushback that they get, now that this discussion is out there and more people are talking and they're talking, could potentially go into Urban Meyer's office and say, I don't like this? Now, I said to Marcel yesterday, I said, it's kind of a tough situation for some of the Jags to do that. Who's going to do that? Like, which players are going to do that? They're all so young, right? I mean, you got a new regime coming in, Austin, and you know this, you live this. This is their livelihood. Who's going to have the courage, the guts to say, even if they don't agree, to go up to Urban Meyer or Shad Khan and say, what are we doing here? Do you anticipate anybody will? Could that happen, and who would it be?
This is a very hard situation to be in. And to me, this is the first mistake. Urban Meyer brought Chris Doyle on without talking to the team. Obviously, because Urban Meyer is the first-year coach, they haven't met as a team yet, so it's hard to get the vibe of a locker room and get the climate of a locker room because Urban Meyer has yet to meet with all those guys. Now, maybe he's talked to a player here or there, but he hasn't met with the team collectively. So he doesn't know what the team's thinking right now. So this hire, it was made in his eyes for the benefit of the team. But Urban Meyer doesn't know the team that he's dealing with right now. From the player's perspective, though, it's a rough situation to be in because you're already on thin ice. You're already coming off a season where you won one game. And you have an entire new regime coming in. And I've said before many times on this show what the turnover is like when that situation happens. I've echoed it many times. I mean, the only guy left on that team, and we'll see if he even gets re-signed, is Avery Jones back when I played with Gus Bradley. That's the only guy that's left. So the turnover is going to be a real thing. And one could think that if players come forward and say, hey, Urban, I got a problem with this, well, now what is that showing? You don't trust the head coach. And if that's on his radar, I'll tell you right now, that's not going to do you any kind of favors of trying to make the team going forward. So it's definitely a slippery slope how you want to handle this whole thing. Now, if the team comes together collectively and they have a sit-down discussion about it, so be it. But I have a hard time picturing, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the NFL locker room has changed so much since I played back in 2014. Maybe it's different now. But I have a hard time believing that, some players, especially players that are on the depth chart just trying to make the team, are going to come out and say, we got a problem with this.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I think, listen, I heard some shows. I think it was Chris Broussard and Rob Parker saying they were really adamant about it. Like, players have to step up here. Well, I even wonder about coaches. Like, what does Charlie Strong think of this, Austin? What do some of the coaches think about this? And, I mean, that's something that Urban Meyer has to navigate. But I just don't know if the players I just don't know if there's anybody proven enough, veteran enough to be able to have that voice and do that. Maybe there is, and maybe there will be, and maybe that force has changed. Maybe it doesn't. But this is something that's really interesting to keep an eye on. And I just can't get over. I get the loyalty part. I don't know if it's good old boy network as much as loyalty. I think if you had a buddy and you really thought he was very good at something and he screwed up something and whatever it might be, I'm not going to put it in this category. I think you, as your friend maybe, and you know his skill set, might be willing to give a second chance. But as you look at this situation, how can you be Urban Meyer and say, I think this is a good idea, and this what's going on right now, to bring this into our locker room, our building, as we're trying to get better and change this building? I just don't know how that added up for Urban Meyer to say, yeah, I think we can do this. I just don't know if he thought they'd have this kind of blowback.
Listen, I've said this before. Every decision that Urban Meyer's made, I put my trust in Urban Meyer because that's what you should do. He has the keys to the car. You should trust Urban Meyer. But on this situation right here, I'll be honest, I don't trust Urban Meyer. And that's just my opinion. Because at the end of the day, you're bringing this guy in to help your team and give your team the best, but you don't know what your team is. You don't know who your team is. You don't know what your team is thinking. And I would have much rather see this hiring maybe like a season in, just so Urban Meyer can kind of get the climate of the locker room a little bit, because he's walking into a situation where he has no idea what he's getting into in terms of personalities and in terms of what these players think. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think it's dangerous. It's definitely risky. And I'll add this. 14 months ago, Shad Khan fired Tom Coughlin because of an embarrassment of problems with the NFLPA. Well, 14 months later, hires Urban Meyer, and I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but the Jaguars are being talked about in not a great light with the hiring of Chris Doyle. That's a fact. Right now, it's happening the last couple of days, and that's on Urban Meyer's watch. We'll be back, Action Sports Jacks, on ESPN 690, live from Jacksonville to somewhere in South Carolina. We're on the road on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Friday. I'm Jake Mitchell. Jaguars' new head coach Urban Meyer is catching some flack for the controversial hiring of Chris Doyle, who was the strength and conditioning coach at the University of Iowa, but has been accused of many misdeeds, including racist language, holding players of color to a different standard, and bullying other students, amongst other allegations. Here's what Coach Urban Meyer had to say.
I vet everyone on our staff, and like I said, the relationship goes back close to 20 years, and a lot of hard questions asked, a lot of vetting involved, and with all our staff, but we did a very good job vetting that one.
The entire Jaguars coaching staff was revealed yesterday. And elsewhere in the league, a source is reporting that Super Bowl MVP Tom Brady will have to have minor knee surgery this offseason. The SportsCenter Update is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
SportsCenter Update brought to you by Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge.
We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope, and you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904-515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000. Or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
As a parent or grandparent, deep down, do you worry that your child may not be able to defend him or herself if bullied? That they may be introverted, too attached to electronic devices, and their grades are suffering? Karate America teaches 7 steps designed to ensure a lifetime of success for your child or grandchild in a safe, sanitized environment with all necessary precautions taken to prevent COVID. Please visit karateamerica.info to fill out a survey and learn if they can help your child.
Have you seen it? I'm talking about the all-new showroom at Arlington Toyota, where they're celebrating with savings all month long. What are you waiting for? Right now at Arlington, take your pick. A new 2021 Corolla LE or a new 2021 Camry LE. You choose. 0 down or buy for just $249 a month. This is a purchase, not a lease. Celebrate with savings and come see the new showroom at Arlington Toyota today. Shop safely in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/February for full details.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Injuries on the job can cause you to lose control. I'm Glenn Levine from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. Money is not coming in and your medical bills are piling up. Our legal team is here to help. We can help you file all your workers' compensation claims to make sure you get the proper benefits you're entitled to. If you've been injured on the job, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Hey, do you owe more than $25,000 on your car, a truck, or that toy in the driveway? Refinance your auto loan with One-to-One Financial. We'll not only lower your payments, but we'll put $200 cash in your pocket. Plus, we have the lowest loan rates in town. Make some room in your budget and put more cash in your pocket. When you refinance with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Apply today at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
From shredding to printing, the UPS store does every ing for small business. And this holiday, when the other guys are closing, we're doing another ing altogether, opening. So while we're busy notarizing and copying, consulting and mailboxing, packing and shipping, well, they're not really doing much of any ing. Opening this holiday, the UPS store. Every ing for small business, all in one place.
The UPS store.
The UPS Store franchise locations are independently owned and operated. Services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
Max. AD needed championships. Chips, plural, to start entering the greatest power forward ever conversation. How many does he need to win with the Lakers before he starts entering that conversation?
The Max Kellerman Show, weekdays at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And now, watch exclusively on ESPN+.
This is the most disappointing thing I've seen all week. Everyone is redeemable, Key, as long as they bring value add to my football program from a winning standpoint. That's the mindset of Urban Meyer. I didn't even think Urban Meyer thought there was anything that he handled that wrong at the end of the day with that. That was what made it so problematic. Here's what I will tell you, that I know people make decisions like this sometimes in business because it's about the bottom line and it's about winning games. Let you say something like that to me. Well, what did the five fingers say to the face, Key? It said, slap. I'm gonna slap the hell out of you. It's gonna be a way bigger deal if he slips up, and it'll be a bigger indictment on Urban Meyer.
That is Jay Williams, along with Zubin and Keyshawn in the morning here on ESPN 690 and all over the country, 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. And listen, there are some strong comments around the country on the hiring of Chris Doyle. Again, I can't – if you bring in Antonio Brown, if you bring in somebody like that with baggage, right, that people talk about, they don't – I'm trying to think, like a Kareem Hunt situation, okay? Cleveland did that. Maybe it's Tyreek Hill you stand by if you're Kansas City. If you bring in those situations, there certainly can be criticized and we can debate them. But part of the reason that I think you bring that in is because you think that makes you way better and you can handle it. As Austin always says, the talent outweighs the distraction. I just don't understand how talent in this instance of Chris Doyle can be that much greater than another director of sports performance. And so bringing this situation in where nobody forced this on you, you kind of brought it on yourself, is an interesting move for Urban Meyer at the outset of his tenure here in Jacksonville, Austin.
Without a doubt. And once again, without the risk of repeating myself too much, the fact that you didn't really wait and see what you got in the locker. Because listen, I have no idea how the locker room is going to respond. Okay, I'll be honest. From what I know about locker rooms, I would assume that some guys are going to have an issue with it, just like some people on social media have an issue with it, right? That's what I think. Now, we'll see when everybody meets and all that stuff and how it's handled, but that's how I think it's going to go. I think it would have been a better situation to wait a little bit, all right, to at least get the climate, see what how the NFL is, and then bring him on if you truly must have him. And to echo your point a little bit as well, this isn't a defensive coach. It's not an offensive coach. This is a guy in strength performance. Now, he is highly touted, and I'm sure his methods are the best in the world. And what it comes down to for me, and we kind of heard Urban Meyer echo this a little bit during the press conference yesterday, like, yes, the Jaguars had a lot of injuries last year, right? And that was brought up. Well, I can sit here and say, well, I think there are a lot of injuries around the entire NFL because, well, they're on lockdown for a little bit. It wasn't a traditional season. Maybe some guys weren't doing their due diligence in terms of prepping their bodies. Maybe it was hard to go to the gym for a little while because we're quarantining. So you can kind of sway it to however you want to sway it in terms of the numbers and everything. But I just think that, Urban Meyer probably should have waited. But like I just said, Urban Meyer's going to do this thing the own way. And I don't think he really cares what anybody thinks about it. And you know what? More power to you, I guess. I just hope that you don't lose a locker room because you didn't gauge the climate when you first got there.
Yeah, Urban Meyer makes that move, and we'll see. I mean, again, it's one thing to talk about it now. The other reality of it is Chris Doyle now has a responsibility to make sure that he reaches out, right? You talk about communication. He reaches out to players. He says, who I am really. I'm not that guy. And by the way, that's not just words, that's actions. And time will tell on that. I hate that phrase, but that's true in this case. And so we'll see what happens if this remains to be the case. I do think, and I don't think this takes away necessarily, Austin, from the conversation and the debate and even the criticism. But I do think the national guys, as I listen to them, and I said this to Marcel, I do think they feel like this guy's the strength and conditioning coach. And that is not the case. The strength and conditioning coach, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, you have a lot of hands-on work with the strength and conditioning coach. That's Schlegel. He's going to be that guy. This guy is going to be the director of sports performance in an office. I'm not saying he's never going to see the players, but I just don't think the day-to-day is hands-on with the players. I don't know if that changes anything. I'm just telling you, I think the role is being misinterpreted because I keep hearing national guys talk about strength and conditioning.
No, and that's fine. And, yeah, they're wrong from that standpoint. But, and Liz, I mean, I don't know exactly what the title's going to entail, but I can tell you this much. If you're a director of sports performance, well, the performance is the data that you gather. And in order to gather data, you got to talk to the athletes. You have to see where they are. You have to see how they feel. They have to see how they feel about this, how you feel about that. Not only from a mental standpoint, but also a physical standpoint. So to answer the question, I think actually he will be dealing with athletes a lot because that's kind of what his job entails of collecting the data. And the only way to collect data is talk to people.
Yeah, okay. And I don't know. That's why I asked you. Yeah. We'll see if that's the case. There is a little bit of a difference in his job and the way it's being perceived, at least in my opinion. Again, Urban Meyer has so many titles and so many coaches, it's hard to really know what everybody's assignment is going to be. Hey, a quick shout-out to Aussie Jag listening from Australia. Says he just woke up, I think.
Oi.
Instead of watching the Australian Open, he's checking in with us on Trevor Pro Day. We talk more about Trevor Lawrence. We'll hear from Steve Smith and the Urban Meyer influence on this Pro Day. It's coming up next from the road, literally, in South Carolina. Can you move out of the way, traffic? I want to get home. We'll be back on ESPN 690.
SportsCenter update brought to you by Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge.
Everyone at CGC Water hopes your new year is off to a fantastic start, and CGC Water wants to give you the gift of clean drinking water. A Kinetico system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. Now that's clean water. Right now, CGC Water is offering $1,000 off a K5 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. If you're still not filtering your water, you are the filter. Schedule your free water test today and get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Remember, this is a limited time offer. $1,000 off a K5 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier softener. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia, CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
It doesn't matter how old we are. We all need love and support. Yet, teenagers who end up in foster care have a much harder time finding it, as nearly 82% of current foster families are home to kids 12 or younger. The good news is, you can positively impact a teen's life by becoming a foster parent with help from Family Support Services of North Florida. You don't have to be married or own a home. You provide patience, love, and understanding, and Family Support Services will offer specialized training, resources, and a community of support. So if you've ever felt a calling to help youth, please take this opportunity to explore becoming a foster parent to a teen through Family Support Services. Teenagers may no longer be little, but they still need lots of love. Take the next step by visiting foster-now.org. That's foster-now.org.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
You're invited to shop at the White Harvest Farms and Farmers Market every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a market of fresh and affordable farm-to-table produce that comes from a 10.5-acre urban located at 4850 Moncrief Road. There's volunteering, classes, and farming demonstrations. Also, if you're interested in becoming a vendor or volunteer, call 904-354-4162 or visit the White Harvest Farms Eventbrite page. White Harvest Farms wants to be your favorite produce market. This initiative benefits the Clara White Mission.
O'Reilly. This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross-country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This week at Macy's, use your coupon or Macy's card and get an extra 20% off just in time for Valentine's Day. Save on top of already great deals, like 35 to 55% off dazzling diamonds, gemstones, and more. And sleek handbags and wallets from Kipling, Nine West, Inc., and more top designers. Now 25% off. Plus, Star Money bonus days are going on now. Learn more at Macys.com/starmoney. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Veteran defensive end J.J. Watt has 1 year left on his current contract. He will not be spending it with the Texans, asking the team for and getting his release today. So what is Texans CEO Cal McNair saying about quarterback Deshaun Watson? Here's ESPN's Adam Schefter.
He said, today we want to focus on J.J. Deshaun is our quarterback. He's a Texan, and we expect him to remain a Texan, and we'll leave it at that.
Adam Schefter on Greeny. Kevin Durant of the Nets practiced today. He's expected to play tomorrow night against his former team, the Warriors. Durant's been out for a week in the COVID-19 contact tracing protocol. An NBA doubleheader on ESPN tipping at 7:30 Eastern with the Mavericks hosting the Pelicans. That'll be followed by the Lakers and Grizzlies in Los Angeles. If you're stuck in the cold and ice and snow, think about Pebble Beach. After finishing his second round today, Jordan Spieth is the leader right now at 12 under par.
This President's Day, Dell honors all you do with up to $300 off their latest tech, like XPS and Alienware systems with Intel Core processors and top electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Call 800-BUY-DELL or visit Dell.com/President's Day. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
I think there's a lot of things. I mean, every year it's a lot of new things to work on that you kind of notice, and then a lot of the same stuff, you know, footwork, comfortability in the pocket presence, all that stuff kind of stays the same as far as you need to work on that. But then just, I think mentally, obviously the game's a little bit different at the NFL level and what's on your plate. So just taking this time, especially after surgery, to really prepare mentally while I can't physically, and then once I can physically, really, I'm just going to be grinding and getting ready. So just really excited for that challenge. I love learning. That's one of my favorite parts about the game is it's such a fun thing to, you know, learn a new system and to kind of piece everything together. It's a lot of fun.
That is Trevor Lawrence from his pro day today. It was in Clemson, South Carolina. Over there, just outside. And Trevor Lawrence now heads to the draft process, and this was it for him. He's got surgery next week. It'll be 4 to 5 months of recovery time, rehab, until he's fully cleared. By then, he'll be drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars, #1 overall. And then it's hello Jacksonville and a career with the Jags. I mean, that's the way it's going to go down. But part of the reason we're on the road and coming back from South Carolina, so thanks for joining us. And, again, don't look at the video too much on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. At least don't stare at it because it's a little bit shaky along these South Carolina roads. But part of the reason that we came up is this is it. Like, this is the only event leading up to the draft for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, everything else is going to be kind of behind closed doors, surgery, rehab, and then Zoom interviews, basically. No combine, no other pro days. Probably not visits in this climate. Maybe that happens, but I'm not sure that will happen. So this was a big day for Trevor Lawrence, at least in the process of getting drafted #1 overall. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, back in the Action Sports Jack studios along with Coos on a Friday. Hope you're doing well, having a good week. I know the weather stinks back in Jacksonville. Hope that rain goes away. And talk a little Daytona 500. Stuart Weber will join us. Joey Logano interview with Stuart coming up in a minute. We'll also hear from Steve Smith in a moment. But I wanted to ask you this, Austin. Urban Meyer told NFL Network, and Todd McShay reported it too, that he basically asked Trevor Lawrence to work out. Now, he didn't put it that way. The story is, hey, you got 3 options. You can wait until March whatever and do your pro day and then rehab, but then you're really getting close to the season if you rehab. Number 2, you don't have to throw. I mean, you don't have to throw. And number 3, well, if you want, just how about throwing next week?
Yeah.
And so it was basically an Urban Meyer-led suggestion to throw, and Trevor Lawrence said, yeah, why not? Let's do it. And Jordan Palmer said the same thing, and you know they didn't have a lot of work, a lot of time to work. And you know this, Austin. Guys really prepare for this stuff. When they're going to throw at a pro day, they're going to throw at the combine. I mean, they train for it. They work at it. They do specific drills, how it's going to look. And so I don't know if that's a headline or a huge part of this for Trevor Lawrence, but the fact that it was on short notice somewhat, I think tells you a little bit about him. He'll just say, hey, I'm confident in my stuff. Let's go do it, and I want to compete.
Yeah, listen, when you talk about a guy like Trevor Lawrence, who's, you know, obviously the overall, I mean, he's the #1 pick. I don't want to throw it out there that he's the #1 pick. But when you have a guy like Trevor Lawrence like that, like, listen, if you're Urban Meyer right now, and you know you're taking Trevor Lawrence, and you've done your due diligence, you've watched the film, you know, I'm sure you've talked to him a couple times, but if you're Urban Meyer now, it's about, you know, let's see this guy be uncomfortable, right? I would say only having 2 weeks to throw a football around and to prep yourself for this thing, that's being uncomfortable. I would say have your future head coach standing like 5 yards away from you, watching every single move that you make. That's uncomfortable. I would say throwing to receivers that you've never really thrown to before. You have like 10 minutes to warm up and get acclimated to those receivers. That's uncomfortable. I would say throwing with a torn labrum in your opposite shoulder, that could be uncomfortable. So what we saw today was essentially the deck. I mean, for the most part, I don't want to get like over exaggerated here a little bit, because let's be honest. I mean, there was a script and this was meant to showcase the skill set of Trevor Lawrence. But at the end of the day, he had some factors that counted against him. Some of the deck was stacked against Trevor Lawrence. And we saw how he threw today. We saw how he was poised, and now let's go and use some of that verbiage. He had fluidity. He had some good moxie. He had that bend. And what was the other one, Kuz, I said? What was the first one I said? That McShay said.
Long
levered. There it is. And he was long levered today.
Yeah, I think those are the buzz phrases, no doubt about it. Let me just ask you real quick, though. Do you think the Urban Meyer kind of suggestions, is that new? Is that surprising to you? Do you take anything from that and the fact that he was front and center from a coaching standpoint? Doesn't it really double down on these guys are all in on Trevor Lawrence, they're not even hiding it kind of feel?
No, I'm not surprised at all. And I'm not surprised that Urban Meyer also kind of gave him three options of what he wanted to do, right? Like, essentially, Urban Meyer, before he's even drafted him, is kind of planning out the future now, it seems like, of Trevor Lawrence. Like, he's that much of an influence on him already, which is crazy. But I'm not surprised because, like I just said, we've seen Trevor Lawrence on film. We've seen him win a national championship. We know what his teammates think about him. We know what his coach thinks about him and Dabo Swinney. What Urban Meyer has to do now is think, all right, how can this guy handle adversity? What type of leader is this guy? Because let's be honest, like, yes, Trevor Lawrence is the front runner right now, as he should be. But he's going to be in for a whirlwind, his first NFL training camp. Every player is, regardless of where you're drafted. It is different. And this is Urban Meyer right now getting an advantage, putting the deck against Trevor Lawrence a little bit and saying, all right, man, let's see what you got. Let's see how you respond. Let me use that information, and let's go from here.
All right, I caught up with Steve Smith while at the facility. Fortunate enough to ask him, say, hey, can we steal you for a couple of minutes? And he was nice enough to join us. He was inside the building. He saw what happened. But I really wanted to see, first of all, what he thought of Trevor Lawrence. And you kind of know what people are going to say, right? I mean, the guy's good. He looked good. It was a pro day. He's throwing against there. That's not too stunning. But I also wanted to see what kind of impact he could have from a receiver point of view. Like, what are guys like DJ Chark, Colin Johnson, Laviska Shenault, Keelan Cole potentially, what are those guys thinking with the idea of Trevor Lawrence? And keep in mind, those guys pay attention in the college game. They've seen Trevor Lawrence play quite a bit. So here's my conversation with Steve Smith from the NFL Network, former great wide receiver, of course, with the Carolina Panthers and Baltimore Ravens. Caught up with him at the Trevor Lawrence Pro Day.
This guy's obviously one of the top prospects we've seen in years. What's your take on it?
No, I don't think he's the one of. He is the top prospect this year. Trevor Lawrence did an excellent job. It was a dress rehearsal, and he blew it out of the water. You talked to some of the scouts, and it was, did he meet or exceed expectations? Probably, I'm a numbers guy. About 89% of the crew said he exceeded all the expectations. He threw phenomenal, threw excellent ball. He threw about 52 passes, maybe 2 or 4 passes that were so-so. But listen, nothing against Jacksonville. If his so-so is what it is, you'll love his so-so because, I mean, it's an upgrade from what you have. I know Gardner Minshew is a competitor. However, it becomes very competitive in that quarterback locker room, in that quarterback meeting room, because Trevor Lawrence is the guy that if you guys decide to make that pick, you will not be disappointed.
I like your numbers, by the way. That's a familiar one.
Yeah.
Hey, as a former receiver, how much excited should guys like DJ Chark and anybody on that receiving staff be about this guy?
Oh, it should be. I mean, these guys are running, I was asked about them, and what do I think? I think they're fantastic players, and then you add a quarterback that can make every throw on the football field, where you have 2 or 3 wide receivers that can run every route on the route tree. It's a great combination. And then you have Robinson, who is your running back who's a hitting gem. You put all of those things together, and then all of a sudden you wake up, you look up, and you got a Jacksonville Jaguars that offensively are going to be a surprise. And then you have Urban Myers, former University of Utah head coach and Ohio State. He understands how to do things, and I think, just what Urban brings and understanding how to recruit players. And understanding how to recruit players from a college coach to the pros can have its differences. However, Coach Myers understands that you have to get to know the player and also keep the business aspect of it. So I think it's a great combination. And I'll be excited to watch how it unfolds. And I think it's going to unfold very good. And I think you guys are going to be very surprised how much success you have immediately if you get the opportunity and pull the trigger with Trevor Lawrence.
Well, that is Steve Smith, and I like talking to Steve Smith, and I've done this before at draft days and other events, and you never know what you're going to get. Like, I don't know where he's going to come from. Is he going to not like? Is he going to be one of the guys that's not as big on Trevor Lawrence, or is he going to not like the Jags receiving core, or is he not going to like the hire of Urban Meyer? He was kind of arrow up on the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. And by the way, Austin, did you catch the 89% in there? Of course, Steve Smith wore number 89.
Of course, yeah. I was like, I turned to Kuz, I'm like, that's very specific what he was saying there, and obviously now it makes sense because that was his number.
That is pretty funny. So, anyway, rave reviews coming out of there today from Todd McShay, we heard earlier, and also Steve Smith as well. So, not a surprise, I think, when it comes to Trevor Lawrence. Hey, we are driving in South Carolina. I think we're still in South Carolina. Seems like you're in South Carolina forever. On our way back from Pro Day. I think our camera might have just gone out, so we'll try to fix that. But that was bound to happen. But speaking of driving, we bring in Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber, who's been in Daytona this week already. Will be there Sunday for the Daytona 500. Knows a little bit about racing.
Here we go.
Love that we're driving. Are we going at the race in, Stuart Weber?
Well, we're kind of losing there, Brent.
No, I think he was doing his best Transformer impression.
Is that what it was?
Might have been.
On his way back. I don't know if he's passing Darlington, South Carolina. That's one of the tracks up there. I believe at the end of it, I heard him asking if they're going to get the race in. That is
correct.
Obviously, a big question right now because of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Florida, so I have no idea.
I mean, you're the residential NASCAR expert here. If you were to guess, what do you think?
I can guess about NASCAR. I can't guess about the weather, especially in Florida. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? You got to get the vortex going. That's one of those NASCAR terms.
Okay.
The idea is that once you start racing, it creates a vortex and drives away the clouds. It's not scientific at all.
I hope not.
It's a completely BS thing that they say in the booth.
I hope so.
But, you get that vortex going.
You get the vortex.
And away you go.
That's kind of what we're hearing with Fast Twitch today from Trevor Lawrence. Like, everyone's got their verbiage, and I guess vortex is big in NASCAR.
I hope they get the race. And obviously last year they had to push it back to a Monday finish. And, you're already down fans as it is. And when you got to push it back an extra day, you're going to lose more fans because some people have to work real life jobs on the Mondays, and you want to get as many fans in there, and they're going to have 30,000 fans in the stands here this coming Sunday.
What is your takeaway so far? Because they had the duels.
Yep.
Right. The field is essentially set. The order is set. What are some of your takeaways so far from what you've seen from that?
Yeah, starting lineup is set. It's going to be a fun, exciting race. There is a handful of younger, less experienced drivers that I'll be curious to see how much they impact the race, simply because of the fact that, one of these guys who are young, if they wreck, you're taking out the entire field, and that's not what you want. You don't want one of these young guys, and we saw that in the second duel, which started very late last night. But if you're one of these guys who has a chance to win, you don't want one of these guys who's running 30th to take out half the field and you be part of it.
Starts. Yeah, for sure. So, and that's what happened essentially last night.
That's what happened in the second duel. Okay. And because of that, William Byron, who was going to start second in the Daytona 500, will now start in the back of the field because he had to go to a backup car.
Wow.
So if you go to a backup car, you lose your starting spot and you got to drop back to the back of the field.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? I mean, because I get it. Like, it makes for a more entertaining weekend, I guess, right? Like, I mean, it's something to watch as opposed to just qualifying. But how do you feel about like that whole thing?
I love the duels. You know, personally, I wish there was more at stake when it came to the duels.
Okay.
Right now, the way NASCAR works is that you have what's called a charter system, where 36 of the spots in every race throughout the course of the entire season are already locked in, based on these teams that have charters.
Okay.
Some of them are the teams you know.
Sure.
Some of the teams you don't know that are just out there making a paycheck and are guaranteed to get in every single race. So essentially you had 8 guys vying for 4 spots over the course of single car qualifying and then the duels.
Okay.
Not to get too in depth into it, but I'd like to see more of those spots up for grabs. You know, with less charters, you'd get a more competitive duel and more excitement. Now, maybe that means more wrecks, maybe not.
Yeah.
But, you know, you would have more at stake instead of just, you know, 4 guys fighting for 2 spots in each of those races. But
interesting.
Yeah.
I like that, man. Yeah, that's in-depth analysis right there.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, though.
we'll throw a little NASCAR in there for you. But the real reason I came up here was I'm a vessel to toss to a conversation I had earlier this week.
Hey, man, you're more than a vessel now. Okay, we value you here on ESPN 690.
Well, I do appreciate that. I love talking NASCAR. It's a well-known fact. And
by the way, did you bring a can koozie at Daytona International?
It was.
I mean, if this guy's not ready for,
it was very much on
for
brand.
racing week.
I was like, I'm definitely going to bring the koozie.
Yeah,
bring the Daytona koozie.
I like that.
One of the real ones, the thick foam ones, the quality.
Those are going to float in the middle of the ocean if you had to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're fishing, those are floating all day.
I can attest that from real life experience,
there you
having
go.
grown up with a boat in South Florida. Those things float, thankfully. But what I was getting to is, luckily I get the chance to talk to some NASCAR drivers this week, and included in that group is Joey Logano, the 2015 Daytona 500 champion. I had a chance to catch up with him earlier this week and kind of get his thoughts on the week leading up to the Great American Race. Joined now by Joey Logano, the 2015 Daytona 500 champion. And when you get set to race at Daytona, you always get that announced ahead of your name, right, Joey?
It's not a bad thing. I'm okay with that. So hopefully we can put 2 time in front of that.
That would not be bad at all. For the first time in a long time, we're talking about practice. What was that like today? You guys actually got a chance to go out there for a practice session instead of going out there in a race and points that matter. You actually got to tinker around a little bit. What was today like?
Oh, we're talking about practice. Finally, it's been, I think, 10 months or so, maybe longer, since we've got to go out there and just, have a chance to work on our car a little bit. Here in Daytona, what you work on is quite a bit different and a lot of different variables comparable to, to an Atlanta or a Vegas that's coming up. Practice might be even more useful at those racetracks than even here in Daytona. But hey, we'll take what we can get at this point. And I feel like our car, handled good. We tried some new things to see if it works in qualifying. That's kind of all we're able to get done. You got to think 55 minutes is not a very long time to make some runs, come in, make changes, and go back out. You kind of run out of time pretty quickly.
That being said, NASCAR has kind of made it a point not to change too much stuff from last year to this year without the lack of testing. Obviously, they pushed back the next-gen car for another year. How much from what you learned in 2020 are you going to be able to apply to this upcoming season?
Yeah, it's really more so than ever, right? Typically, like you said, when you had practice, you're constantly evolving. The cars keep getting better. Now that I feel like it's harder to come from behind. In other words, like if you're a little bit off in speed, it's really hard to recover now without practice. So, it's more so carries over year to year now, or track to track, more so than ever because there's no practice.
Yeah, no doubt. So every other year, you've made it into the Final Four in the NASCAR playoffs. Are you just throwing this year away and getting ready for 2022, or are you going to try and break that trend?
We're going to try to break the trend this year. I don't know how that trend happens, what that's all about. I have no idea, but we hope to break that trend and be in the championship four again.
And to join the exclusive list of multi-winners at the Daytona 500 would be a very special thing. It's very rare that you get guys like Denny who, have won back-to-back in 3 out of 5. But what would a second win in the 500 mean for you in your career?
Yeah, I mean, Daytona 500 is, it's one of the biggest races, if not the biggest race of the year, for all of us to line up and go for it. And anything can happen, right? I've been in the lead and gotten crashed. I've been running 5th and gotten crashed. Some people wait and hopefully they crash in front of them and they drive through it and they have a car to race at the end. There's a lot of different strategies on how to get through this race. But it's such an intense race. That's what it is. It's everybody knows what's on the line. Everyone wants their name on that Harley J. Earl Trophy with the pioneers of our sport. And so everyone's pushing it hard, literally pushing each other pretty hard. And eventually, someone's going to get turned sideways in front of the field. And when you're going 200 miles an hour, you're going to run into them, most likely. And so that's just kind of the situation that happens here in Daytona sometimes.
What are your thoughts on this kind of condensed schedule for speed weeks this year? They're going with a race every single night. And kind of the weird thing is qualifying tonight, the 500 duels tomorrow night, but then the race is during the day on Sunday. So these two kind of sessions, if you will, are going to be very different from what you see on the track come Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, for sure. As maybe this practice we just had, earlier in the daytime, when it's hot out, might be closer to what it's going to be like in the Daytona 500, more so than what the duels will be tomorrow night. So just don't know exactly how that's going to be quite yet, but definitely something that we'll keep our eyes on is the weather. And here in Florida, it changes by the second a lot of times. Who knows? It could rain at any second. It seems like down here, but we'll keep our eyes on that and see. Right now it looks like the forecast Sunday might be cooling off some, so maybe it'll be closer than what we think, but time will tell.
Joey Logano, thank you so much, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you. Have a good one.
That is Stuart Weber and Joey Logano, 2015 Daytona 500 champion. Logano, not Weber.
What?
In an
I might have won that year.
Here this week, as Daytona 500, Daytona 500 weekend is here. Stuart, is the weather so bad that they're not going to race even tonight? Trucks, you got Xfinity racing tomorrow, and the 500, by the way, could get moved up to a noontime race. I can tell you this, either way, our show has been moved up to 11 a.m. We'll have a 1-hour Road to Victory Lane show on Fox 30, 11 o'clock on Sunday. But we'll find out, I think, Stuart, unless something's changed since I've been driving, tomorrow afternoon, the exact start time of the race, but it could be noon instead of 3 o'clock, correct?
Yeah, that's the scuttlebutt that we are hearing out on the street, is that it could get pushed up as early as tomorrow afternoon. As of right now, everything's still on track. I mean, the Xfinity Series practice, I was watching that a little earlier. We got the truck race coming up tonight. They already did qualifying for that, so they're on track, literally and figuratively, for the week.
All right, a couple of things real quick, guys. You want to see the Valentine's headline of the weekend? This out of Miami. Authorities are searching for a Florida man accused of stealing an engagement ring and a wedding ring from one of his girlfriends and using them to propose to another girlfriend.
I respect the hustle.
Oh, Florida man.
I respect the hustle, man. Hey, do what you got to do. Sometimes get upgrade.
Hey,
is that like a Publix BOGO?
Yeah, that's very good. And you would probably find that, Weber.
I would. Yes, I would.
I got to tell this story real quick. Austin tweeted something out today, and maybe the competition retweeted him. And within 30 seconds, both Austin and Stewart both sent that tweet to me.
Yeah.
You can go figure it out for yourself, folks.
Well,
but,
by the way,
hey,
I
Austin, I have a question about that. I saw that. Are you being recruited is the question. Should we be concerned?
Brent, I can't really diverge too much. All you should know right now, the scouting report saying that I'm twitchy, I'm long-limbed, I'm bendy, and I have some moxie. That's what the scouts are telling me right now. Take that for how you want. If you're worried about it, let's have a conversation. If you're not, just sit back and see what happens.
I've never been described as any of those words.
You should try it, man. It's fantastic. Yeah. I highly recommend it.
Okay. Get a little twitchy on you.
As long as you're not long-levered, and I can promise you this, by next week, you'll be going to Moe's on ESPN 690 as well.
There you go.
Cut the check, baby. Cut the check. Some of the best
we'll
tacos
back.
out
Action
there.
Sports Jacks on. Hey, we got to stop and get gas. We'll be back. We got to take a break. Thanks, Weber, for stopping in. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690. Scattered showers, even a rumble of thunder into this evening with some brief downpours. Temperatures tonight will drop to near 60 degrees with some fog later on. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where now through Valentine's you can save thousands. Find out more at beardsdiamonds.com.
We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope, and you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904-515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000. Or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
Don't forget to celebrate your love this Valentine's and save thousands at Beard's Diamonds.
Shop now through Valentine's at BeardsDiamonds.com and see hundreds of specially priced sweetheart deals.
Like a half-carat diamond solitaire necklace, retail $16.55. Beard's special Valentine's price, $10.75.
You save over $500.
Or half-carat diamond hard necklace, retail $900. Beard's Valentine price, $585.
And lots of diamond earrings to choose from, like a 1.5 carat pair, retail $49.99. Beard's Valentine price, $32.49. You save over $1,700.
See hundreds more at BeardsDiamonds.com.
And with every purchase between now and Valentine's, your loved one receives a free dinner at Fogo de Chao.
If you're celebrating an anniversary or getting engaged, Beards Diamonds has the largest selection of engagement rings and GIA-certified loose diamonds
at the lowest prices in Jacksonville, guaranteed.
Celebrate your love this Valentine's with these sweetheart deals
at the St. John's Town Center or at BeardsDiamonds.com.
Get the lowest prices in Jacksonville, guaranteed at Beards Diamonds.
The United States has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. At the Equal Justice Initiative, we believe mass incarceration has to end. There is this presumption of dangerousness and guilt that gets assigned to black and brown people. We have to confront our history of racial injustice and commit to a new era of truth. There's something better waiting for us, something that feels more like freedom. Truth can inspire change. Please learn more at EJI.org.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
From restaurants to retail to entertainment and more, over 150 businesses across Jacksonville have become connectable, providing employment opportunities for people with autism, Down syndrome, and other intellectual differences. Celebrate their inclusiveness and support these businesses at the citywide Shopability celebration on Saturday, March 6th. Visit ConnectableJacks.com to see the Shopability map, then shop away on Shopability Saturday. Learn more at ConnectableJacks.com.
I'm Glenn Levine, a board-certified civil trial lawyer. That means the Florida bars recognize me as an expert in the field of civil trial. As a trial lawyer, I'm trained to investigate every aspect of your case. If you've been involved in a legal dispute and are not sure of your options, call me, Glenn Levine, at the law offices of Anajar & Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation. And take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Have you seen it? I'm talking about the all-new showroom at Arlington Toyota, where they're celebrating with savings all month long. So what are you waiting for? Right now at Arlington, take your pick. A new 2021 RAV4 LE or a new 2021 Tacoma SR. You choose. 0 down or buy for just $299 a month. This is a purchase, not a lease. Celebrate with savings and come see the new showroom at Arlington Toyota today. Shop safely in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/February for full details.
What's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Your smart speaker brings ESPN 690 into your home office. All you got to do is say Amazon Echo, Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy that succulent sports coverage.
Austin Lane.
I had braces. I still have my permanent retainer in. It's been knocked out twice.
Brent Martineau.
So it's not stuck in there.
No, it's not stuck in there.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
You know, I'm no different than anybody else. I still want to do the process the right way, and obviously it's not like the original plan was to have 2 months training out in California, then come back March 11th and put on a show and do all that. But life happens sometimes, so just having to adjust and showing I'm able to adjust and adapt and still willing to come out here and throw and give teams a chance to see me. That was important to me and important to my team to make sure we made that happen. And obviously it wasn't necessarily the ideal situation and circumstances, but I think we did a great job of just kind of maneuvering and navigating through all that.
That is Trevor Lawrence, future Jags quarterback, coming off his pro day. What's the matter?
I'll tell you what, man. So you mentioned a tweet that I had that a certain company retweeted.
Yeah.
We did some more research on it. They deleted it now.
Oh, they deleted the tweet?
Hey, they deleted it. Somebody got in trouble.
The tweet?
Somebody got in trouble. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is no longer on their timeline, Brent. Hey, Brent, I'll tell you what, man. The ESPN 690 brand living rent-free in some heads right now. Living rent-free. Sweet and everything, living rent-free in some people's heads. That's all I'm going to say about it. That's all I'm going to say.
That's funny. That was a funny moment. The hilarious moment about that was that you both texted me that same thing at the same time, and I hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
So, hey, fans of you. Or maybe the show.
Well, hey, you know how I feel about it. Maybe a more professional gentleman would have been like, oh, thank you for the shout out. I appreciate it. Nah, man. If you do that and you slip up, we're going to war. It is what it is, man. ESPN 690 for life. The Syndicate's got our back.
Love it. Very good. Hey, speaking of battles, big weekend in UFC, right?
Yeah.
Usman and...
Come on, Brent. Get there.
Burns?
Yo!
No.
Yes.
Burns. Yeah, Burns.
Wait. Hey, did you say Burr or Burns?
No, Burns.
There it is. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
good.
not Burr.
Good. No, of course not.
And it's Usman. That was the harder one. But
for sure.
So this one got my attention. Is that rightfully so? I mean, again, I sometimes will get grabbed by the names and the promotion from ESPN and otherwise. But I feel like we've talked about Usman quite a bit. So this one got my attention. Should it have?
Yeah, it's definitely an intriguing matchup. If you remember, we saw Kamaru Usman at Radio Row. This would have been last year in Miami.
Oh, that was the whole thing. That was the setup. This was you. Oh, hey, this was like.
This is why I wasn't looking for. I mean, we really didn't have to talk about this at all, honestly.
this was Santa. This was Easter Bunny. This was the Tooth Fairy. We won't say anything else. But that was that moment.
Yeah.
This was a big moment for Austin Lane. I've never seen a grown man with a beard and 6'6" and 245 ever look so dejected.
Oh, I was pouting.
I've never
Brent.
seen it.
Tell him, Brent, how much was I pouting that day? I was not enjoying to be around after that.
All right, we got to tell people the story. We can't assume
that
they know the story
of
from
course.
Super Bowl last week.
No, Brent, we have people in Australia tuning in now. Like, we have a bunch of new listeners here. Let's go ahead and spread the wealth around a little bit and retell this story. So we're in Miami, Radio Row. This would have been my second year at the Super Bowl. And I think we just finished our show. And at the time, Jorge Masvidal was a giant name. He just knocked out Ben Askren with that flying knee. Like, the stock of Jorge Masvidal could not be any bigger. And all of a sudden after the show, I'm sitting there with Brent, and they're Brent's talking to somebody. It's some guy in a North Face jacket. Go figure. Everyone was wearing a North Face jacket there. But all of a sudden I see...
In Miami.
And exactly. And all of a sudden I see Jorge Masvidal walk through the door. And to kind of set the scene a little bit of how Radio Row is set up, it was like a giant square. So on the outside of the square, that was like the walkway. And then on the inside of the square was like where all the Sports Minute people are. That's where we're doing our show and everything. So I'm kind of in the middle of that square, and I see in the walkway that Jorge Masvidal is walking. I'm like, oh man, I got to go at least say what's up to Jorge Masvidal because he's one of the quote unquote realest fighters out there. I was a huge fan of his. He was fighting back with Kimbo Slice back in the day in backyard fights. Like, this guy is as real as it gets. I got to talk to Jorge Masvidal, try to get him on the show, but obviously just to say, hey man, I respect what you do. I'm an MMA fighter myself. Props. So go up to Jorge Masvidal, and keep in mind he's got the entourage around him. He has a handler that's kind of scheduling all the appointments and everything. So I just say, Jorge, man, I'm a huge fan of yours. I appreciate what you do for the sport. You keep it real. You know, there's some guys out there that want to make this all theatrics, but like you're one of the real ones, and I kind of model my game after that. So I appreciate it. And he was very gracious and everything. You know, we spoke in a couple words to each other, but I could tell, like in the back of his mind, or like looking behind me, like he had to get to something. And where he was standing, there was the ESPN booth, like the main ESPN booth where, you know, everyone's doing their shows. So I figured, all right, I'm sure Jorge Masvidal's probably got to go to the ESPN booth to sell a fight or something like that. So be it. Okay, thanks for your time. So didn't get the interview, obviously. I spoke my piece. As I'm watching Jorge Masvidal exit, you know, our conversation, I can't help but notice, well, hey, you know, keep in mind, this is a square. On the other side now is Kamaru Usman walking. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. There's Kamaru Usman out of nowhere. Like, where'd he come from? Now, with any square, there's going to be a point. And both of these guys right now are walking to a point. And I'm like, I think they used to train together at American Top Team a little bit. They must be good friends. I wonder what's going on. And in the blink of an eye, with no word, no warning, they start going back and forth. After I just got done singing to Jorge Masvidal, dude, you're one of the realest guys I ever met. You don't do the fake stuff. I appreciate it. Now we have essentially a stage showdown taking place in the middle of Media Row, you know, in the middle of Radio Row. Well, it just so happens that these two fighters end up fighting each other, and who's in the UFC promo to shoot this thing but Brent Martineau? Now, obviously, you know, the whole quote-unquote showdown went on at Radio Row. I walked back. I was ticked off, right? Because now I saw how the sausage is made, right? I'm not a fan of it. Now I'm upset because everything that I thought about a fighter turned out to be false. And I'll never forget, Kamaru Usman's handler came up to me after, and they're like, hey, Kamaru's looking to get on some interviews. Are you guys interested? I go, no, we're okay. Thank you. And that was it. So yeah,
that was awesome.
So he's fighting this weekend.
I've never seen somebody so dejected. It was like, wait a minute, I thought wrestling and AEW and WWE was like this.
Man.
I was ready for that, but not my sport.
Yeah,
and
man.
it took him a little while to get over it. I think he's finally over it. And for me, it's just another claim to fame, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because I have been in a Tom Brady, I'm going to Disney World commercial, and now I've been in the Usman Masvidal promo.
Well,
so
yeah.
I just put it on my resume tape.
And listen, I'll never forget it too, because obviously at the time I was pretty peeved off, to say the least. And then when Jorge Masvidal fought Kamaru Usman on short notice and that fight went down, I remember I was at a friend's house. Obviously it's pre-COVID time, but I was at a friend's house. It was a giant UFC watch party. And, you know, we obviously bought the fight and everything. And as they're prepping this fight, it's like, and it's time. It's the showdown. And they go back to the Super Bowl video. I wasn't even paying attention to, like, you know, obviously the promo. But one of my friends goes, dude, isn't that your co-host in the background? And I look up, I'm like, they're at the Super Bowl. I'm like, yeah, man. Like, let's just go past. He's like, no, let's rewind that because it's on DVR. Let's go. That's Brent Martineau right there. I'm like, whatever, dude. Whatever, man.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, USC
258. 258. Yeah.
Sorry, I lost count.
No, you're good.
Usman and Burns. What you got? What you got?
Yeah. So listen, if you're wondering why this is an intriguing matchup, styles make the fights, right, Brent? And Kamaru Usman, he's a grappler through and through. But the cool thing about this is so is Gilbert Burns. So they're both grapplers. Now, here's the cool thing about this fight, though. Sometimes fighters cross-train, right? Sometimes they cross-pass in practice where they'll spar each other a little bit. These guys are former teammates. These guys have over 200 rounds of sparring together. And it's one thing if you have a couple rounds where it's like, okay, I can kind of see what this guy's going to do a little bit. Like, you never really get the idea of the type of fighter he is in sparring, right? Especially maybe after 2 or 3 rounds, because you don't show everything. But when we talk over 200 rounds of live sparring together, you know a lot about that guy, right? And only they know. I mean, listen, and obviously there's a confidence there, right? Or maybe there's not a confidence depending how those sparring sessions went. But, like, they know each other wholeheartedly. They know everything about each other. So that's the intriguing part of this matchup where stylistically, yeah, they're not really power punchers per se. They're great strikers, but they're not going to go for that knockout. They're great grapplers. They're great jiu-jitsu artists per se, especially Gilbert Burns. But it begs the question, what happens when you know everything about your opponent? That's what we find out this weekend at UFC 258.
I kind of like that. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That will be a good part of it to watch. And who did the homework better, who's got a better memory of that stuff, potentially could fall into place here. You just said Gilbert Burns. I think of Gilbert Arenas. Is there another Gilbert
the big
in
zero.
sports? Like,
oh, man. I mean, I think of Gilbert Godfrey, but he's not a sports guy.
That's what I was about to say.
And then I think
no, I knew
Gilbert
somebody
Grape.
was going to say that. I knew that was coming.
Yes.
That's not sports. I'm talking
I hear
sports.
I hear you. Ah, man. I mean, there's Brandon Albert, but Gilbert. Shout out to the Jaguars, by the way.
Hey, wasn't Gilbert a last name Gilbert? Gilbert, tennis player. Look him up.
Wait a second.
Wasn't he like a coach of like Agassi and others? I think. Not Tony Gilbert.
Maybe.
What?
Okay. I'm trying to press you right now. This is not an athlete. I think he's a musician. Is there a Brantley Gilbert?
Brad Gilbert is the tennis.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a Brantley
Brad
Gilbert?
And yes, there is a Brantley Gilbert.
I mean,
yes, there is a Brantley
I can
Gilbert.
talk it all.
Very good.
And is this station higher in country?
By the way, Brantley Gilbert.
DJ?
Yeah, yes.
Do we
might
have a
want
country
to try
DJ
that next,
at Cox Media?
We don't have a country
station
entity.
Yet.
Yeah.
Hey, Brent,
so
yet.
You can't do that. Not yet. Hey, by the way, if they get a country entity, it might be ESPN 690 moving to country. So hopefully that's not happening anytime soon. But you asked a question. What did you ask earlier in the show? We got to answer that when we come back.
Have you ever snuck in any place?
We never got to it.
Yeah. Do you have any stories?
Oh,
about
yeah.
Let's sneak in, go behind the scenes a little bit to get a story, or maybe in your youth you just kind
All
of
right,
broke the rules a little bit. Please do.
How about that? That'll be Give Me One Thing when we come back.
Let's
Action
get it.
Sports Shacks, plus a final take on Trevor Lawrence Pro Day on the way on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Friday. I'm Jake Mitchell. Jaguars' new head coach Urban Meyer is catching some flack for the controversial hiring of Chris Doyle, who was the strength and conditioning coach at the University of Iowa, but has been accused of many misdeeds, including racist language, holding players of color to a different standard, and bullying other students, amongst other allegations. Here's what Coach Urban Meyer had to say.
I vet everyone on our staff, and like I said, the relationship goes back close to 20 years, and a lot of hard questions asked, a lot of vetting involved, and with all our staff, but we did a very good job vetting that one.
The entire Jaguars coaching staff was revealed yesterday. And elsewhere in the league, a source is reporting that Super Bowl MVP Tom Brady will have to have minor knee surgery this offseason. The SportsCenter update is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
SportsCenter update brought to you by Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge.
Hello, you have reached the Crooks of Rust Training Helpline. Today we're explaining the term verified alarm to all you newbies out there.
Oh, boss, I can explain that. A verified alarm just means that whatever caused the security system alarm to go off has been verified.
Correct. And what alarm company is known for providing the fastest verified alarms?
SafeTouch Security.
Exactly. Because SafeTouch has the two-way communicator, which leads to alarm verification within seconds.
And alarm verification is very bad for us crooks.
Yeah, unlike a non-verified alarm that police label a low priority.
Like right below getting Grandma's cat out of a tree low.
So, to sum up, verified alarms. Just one more reason we crooks have the golden rule. Stay away from SafeTouch houses. Remember that, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, kitty.
Only one security system is truly the best. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of SafeTouch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call SafeTouch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Do you know a child who is deaf, hard of hearing, blind, or visually impaired? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine is a fully accredited, tuition-free state public school that gives children an edge for a lifetime of success. FSDB is nationally recognized for its educational services designed for students' unique communication and accessibility needs. Eligible pre-K and kindergarten through 12th grade students benefit from small class sizes, advanced technology, and various recreation, extracurricular, and performing arts activities. Transportation and boarding services are free to any eligible deaf or blind student, kindergarten through high school, no matter where the student lives in Florida. My name is Trent Ferguson, and I'm a proud graduate of this wonderful school. This place changes lives. To learn more information or to apply for enrollment, call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdbk12.org.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Hey, do you owe more than $25,000 on your car, a truck, or that toy in the driveway? Refinance your auto loan with One-to-One Financial. We'll not only lower your payments, but we'll put $200 cash in your pocket. Plus, we have the lowest loan rates in town. Make some room in your budget and put more cash in your pocket. When you refinance with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Apply today at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Love is not supposed to hurt. Domestic violence is about power and control. It's a choice made by the abuser. COVID-19 may have separated us, but we're here to help. If you know of someone who needs to talk, please call the Florida Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-500-1119. Trained advocates are available to provide support. This message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Health, the Florida Department of Children and Families, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Are you tired of pounding nails from one job to the next? Are you looking for a stable career? American Window Products is currently seeking full-time window installers and apprentices. American Window Products has served Jacksonville and the surrounding areas for 39 years and has openings for full-time window installers and apprentices. The positions include competitive pay and benefits. Full-time window installers and apprentices are needed now. Apply in person at American Window Products or by sending an email to info@AmericanWindowProducts.com.
One of the more difficult issues facing small businesses today is having enough work to keep good employees. What if your business was affected by a sudden or extended drop in income because of COVID-19? What can be done to ensure that the people who are your top performers remain with you? Many of our SCORE volunteers have faced similar situations and willing to share their expertise. Take advantage of the opportunity to gain their knowledge by registering to participate in a SCORE webinar or schedule a free confidential meeting with a counselor at jacksonville.score.org.
The Seminoles are here.
Good shot again. Walker is going crazy. Knowles win it all. The ACC championship of the regular season.
The reigning ACC champions look to defend their title in 2021.
Puts up the triple. Good shot. You'll hear the horn. The Knowles will win.
Catch the action all season long right here on your radio home of the Seminoles.
Hear FSU basketball on ESPN 690. Thanks to Donato's Pizza, where every piece is important.
Urban Meyer has had his eyes on Trevor Lawrence for a while now. He watched him live in 2019 around the time when they played Ohio State in that semifinal. He came away very impressed, thinking, hey, this would be a great NFL prospect that I could potentially coach one day. And so it's worked out, and that's a big reason why he took the job, to be honest. You get a chance to get a franchise quarterback, and so Jacksonville will be live in person today to watch him. Be about 15 to 20 teams, I'm told, several of whom are picking in the top 10, but likely won't have a shot at Trevor Lawrence because everybody knows where he's going.
Yeah, so that's just a wasted trip for everybody else. Not a wasted trip for us, so you could make the argument. Sorry, we're like the rest of the NFL teams. We saw what you saw. We'll get what you got. Kind of nothing.
Hey, listen, when Brent Martineau wants a Todd McShay interview, you better believe Brent Martineau's getting that interview, baby. All right? He'll go through hell or high water to give you guys the audio that you deserve from Todd McShay.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, it was good, too. Go back and listen to the Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 podcast. You can listen around the 20 minutes into the first hour. Also, you can listen to Steve Smith talking about Trevor Lawrence because I TMZ'd those guys, and I got them to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, is there video with those two? Because I love to see the reactions as you're chasing them down with the camera and everything like that.
Yeah, well, we do have video, but not of the actual. Hey, this is actually kind of funny. I haven't tweeted this out yet, but we're sitting there in the parking lot across the way, kind of where they told us to park, and we're doing some live shots this morning on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Got a story, by the way, coming up in sports all night long on CBS 47 and Fox 30 as well on the entire pro day. But we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, there's a kid in like an orange Clemson shirt, and then the guy next to him has like a black jersey on, and I'm like, hey, that looks like a Jags jersey.
Yeah.
Like, that is a Jags jersey.
I like it.
He had a DJ Chark jersey on. I was like, what are you doing? Are you from Jacksonville? He said, no, I go to school here. My parents were born or lived in Jacksonville when I was born, and so I'm a Jags fan, and I go to Clemson. So he had a DJ Chark jersey on. It was so random.
I like it.
I pulled the phone out and I started interviewing him. I'll share it. I was like peppering him with questions like, "Why are you wearing a DJ Chark jersey?"
Sure.
But it was kind of a funny moment.
Well, and you know what? And let's be honest here, Brent. In terms of the bandwagon right now, obviously the Jaguars bandwagon is starting to fill up. And usually, you know how I feel about these things. You experienced this with Kyler Murray this past season, right? I mean, it got to the point where the guy was playing so unconsciously that I had to close the bandwagon down and I had to take off and I had to leave you and a bunch of people behind. With the Jaguars bandwagon, though, man, I'm an equal opportunity employer. Everybody's welcome on. It's going to be at the station for a while, and we are welcoming anybody that wants to get on this Jaguars bandwagon because you know why, Brent? It takes all of us, man, and the more the merrier.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Brent Martineau here on the road, driving back in South Carolina. Kuz, our video should be back up. Well, our video went down a couple of times, but outside of that, we had few, knock on wood, technical issues here on the road. First ever actual road trip show, like literally on the road, Marcel Robinson driving. I haven't sat here other than to, be here when Kaylee's driving. You know, she's about to get her license in April, and she's got her permit. And so the only time I've sat in my own passenger seat in the truck is now and when Kaylee's driving. And I'll say this, Austin. I think Kaylee might be a better driver than Marcel.
Okay. Well, as someone who's rode with Marcel a couple times on a couple long trips, no comment, let's just say.
I'm obviously busting his chops. He did a good job
he's
so
great.
We could do the show.
Yeah.
And it's actually been very slow going. A lot of traffic in South Carolina. We got some rain falling now. So, unfortunately, we haven't got pulled over. I hope we don't now because if we're going to get pulled over, I want to get pulled over live on the show.
Yeah.
And so hopefully that doesn't happen. Hey, Trevor Lawrence, it looked pretty healthy even though he's going to have surgery. And he's definitely coming to Jacksonville is what I learned today. Give me one thing. You asked, have you ever illegally or snuck into something like people sneak into the movie theater sometimes? That's harder to do now, right?
Correct.
I feel like I've done that in the past as a kid.
Speaking of what a badass Brent Martineau is.
Okay, but here's the thing. When you ask me that, I can't remember a specific instance. Like, the Masters has a very tight, security that you're not allowed to do stuff. I thought I was actually going outside the grounds of the Masters one time.
Yeah.
And so I did it where the ticket stuff was behind us and people were walking in. And so I'm thinking I'm going by the rules. And I am in the middle of my sportscast, and a security guy comes over and starts moving me out of the way. Says, you can't do that here. I'm like, dude, give me 30 more seconds. I only have 2.5 minutes in the show.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know I was trying to do it. I would say the number one place I would sneak into as a kid was the golf course. I'd try to sneak on. I just didn't have the money to play, so I would sneak on the golf course.
I got you. I like it. I mean, dude, I have way too many stories to break it down right now. But what I'm going to share, New Orleans Super Bowl party. It was the ESPN party, and the way it works is you can only bring a +1. Well, I had 2 friends with me. So what we did is we Googled the punter of the Buffalo Bills, because why would the punter of the Buffalo Bills be in New Orleans at a Super Bowl party? We gave my friend that guy's name, and then we found a random girl who was already at the party and said, hey, can you walk in with my friend and say that he forgot his ID and say that guy is Sean Powell? It worked. Shout out to Sean Powell. Didn't go to the ESPN party, but we said one of my friends was you, punter from the Buffalo Bills, man. We appreciate it. You got us in.
That is a great story. Very good. Well done to get into the Super Bowl party. I haven't tried that yet. Maybe I will soon enough.
Next year.
Hey, have a good
next
weekend.
Year.
Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. We'll see you on TV all weekend long. Follow our Daytona 500 coverage. Trevor Lawrence Day in the books. We'll see Trevor in April with the #1 pick. Have a good night, everybody. We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive. And it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you. And your plan should already be under a microscope. And you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management